couple months. And I think we might have done this anyway in the summer, but we slid it up. And we're calling it Jacksonville Icemen Day.
Yep.
And we will have various local sports franchises and colleges and everybody. We're going to give everybody a turn, at least everybody we can think of, and hopefully don't miss anybody. Maybe a couple times a week. We'll spread it out. No rhyme or reason. We picked today to do Jacksonville Icemen Day. And what we want to do is keep the sports teams relevant. Listen, everybody's frozen.
I like it.
Right now. So we want, listen, the local sports scene is important to us. It's not just Jags. It's not just football. It's everybody. And they're supportive of what we do. We hope to be supportive of what they do. And it's kind of our lifeblood, right? So our lifeline in all of this. And what's going on with the Icemen? How are they impacted? But also some cool and fun stuff throughout the day. So it's not 3 hours of Iceman talk. It's just we want to recognize the Jacksonville Icemen. And, again, we'll do it with a bunch of the different sports teams and colleges in the next, probably couple of months because it will take us that long to get through them, which will be a lot of fun. So we'll see how it evolves, and hopefully you like it, enjoy it. We'll have some interviews for a couple minutes with Baba Roblo and Jason Christie and one of the Iceman players as well, Wasey Rabbit. He's coming up a little bit later on. But that doesn't mean we don't talk about other things as well. And so we begin with football, and there's a lot of football stuff to talk about today. I've got a topic I want to get into because Todd McShay has Justin Herbert to the Jags at number 9 in his latest mock draft.
I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm going to tell you why I think the Jaguars have no interest in drafting a quarterback, especially high. Now, could you take a flyer on somebody in the 5th or 6th round? Maybe, but nothing like that in the top 3 or 4 rounds. I don't see them doing it. I'm going to tell you why today on that. I've got a thought on it. I want to see if you agree with me or not. We'll get into that. Doug Marrone met with the media today via Zoom, conferenced in, and a lot of different topics. So you'll hear from them, and that will get us into a certain direction, of course. Yannick Ngakoue tweets again, kind of throws the hammer down, right? I mean, he was aggressive with this tweet, and no blurry lines when it comes to Yannick Ngakoue. He wants out, and it almost feels like he's begging out of Jacksonville at the moment, and almost appears to be frustrated by the lack of movement. Where is that headed? And why don't the Jags just cut bait? Why not? But what will it take? Are we headed to that situation? Anyway, and then the latest news just in, I'm telling you, we got a lot to get through, is the NFL owners' meetings happened on a conference call, and they did vote for playoff expansion. No surprise there. So 7 teams will get in. 1 team will get the bye, the top seed. So it's a little extra special treatment for the top-seeded bye that only 1 instead of the top 2 seeds. But we also get a 3rd game each day on Wild Card Weekend, which is good for sports fans and football fans. They also announced that the schedule will not be released until May 9th. They said, I think I read somewhere that was going to happen anyway. Little fighter jet?
That's a jet.
Can you hear that?
I don't know what was
wonder if
going on.
everybody listening can hear that. We can hear it through here.
Okay, that
I've
freaked
got
me out.
headphones on and I can hear it.
Yeah.
That happened by the
I thought I ruptured my eardrum or something. All right, we're good.
I was doing a sportscast the other night, and I did it outside in my backyard. I don't know if I shared this story or not yet.
I don't think you did.
So I'm doing this. I mean, listen, we get 2 minutes and 30 seconds in our early show for sports. I'm going way off topic here, so hang with me,
All
people.
good. We're with you.
But 2.5 minutes. That's 150 seconds. Like it hits at 6:54 on Fox 30. I'm in my backyard doing a little story one of the guys did on like sports therapy places, and that's instead of going to hospitals if you get injured, but there's a lot of people walking and running these days. So I do it in the backyard. Kind of every neighborhood has a lot of people with activity in it. The moment, and I mean the moment I started my 150-second sportscast, this jet vroom, right over the house, man. I mean, it was actually really cool.
Yeah.
But and then it came back. Like it was like I had a flyover for my sportscast. Like I did not plan it.
Yeah.
But it was it was so loud. I was like, I have no idea if anybody can hear me. I don't think anybody heard me for the first 30 seconds of the sportscast.
Action Sports Jack's putting all the stops, man. You got flyovers now going on for
Well,
your
then the end of the
TV
show. At the end, I had the ice cream truck going by.
Oh, nice.
I went from fighter jet.
Still standing in business with the ice cream truck. I'm sure they're probably making a killing right now.
I don't know. Are they?
With everybody that's at home?
Are you buying from the ice cream truck right now?
I mean, I never.
I wonder if people are a little skittish right now about the exchange of things. Maybe not.
I mean, I'd kill
Use
for
gloves.
a bomb pop, man.
Bomb
pops go hard, man.
All right. So anyway, football-wise, we got extra playoff games. Interesting. CBS going to run one of those games. In conjunction, they're going to do it on Nickelodeon as well. Did you see this?
Didn't see that.
They're going to run it on Nickelodeon for the younger audience. How are they going to spin that? And really, I thought of you. I was like, you're such a cartoon guy. I wonder if you're going to watch on Nickelodeon or CBS.
I don't watch Nickelodeon per se anymore. I mean, shout out to SpongeBob SquarePants, obviously. We play those Rugrat reruns. I mean, I'll watch some of those as well. Rocko's Modern Life always goes hard. But I think it's interesting from the fact that they're going to put it on Nickelodeon, because I just feel like if you're that age, Brent, like if you're in grade school or middle school and you're a football fan, like you'll find it regardless. Like trying to force it down the Nickelodeon audience's mouth, I mean, obviously it's going to help out the ratings for sure because it's not going to hurt or anything. But I just got to wonder, like, how much is enough?
I don't know, man. I like the idea of it. Think about this. You got a bunch of old owners.
Sure.
And I don't know who sparked the idea, but did the NFL come up with the idea? Was it the owners that came up with the idea? They at least put their arms around it, go after the younger audience. I like it. It can't hurt. I mean, what the heck? If it fails, it fails. If it's a mess, it's a mess. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL is bulletproof when it comes to that. So I love the idea. I like that they're thinking outside the box. I tip my hat to the NFL. I think it's what makes them. But they're geniuses in so many respects. They're trying to stay ahead. Keep in mind, people think like all these things are going to be so highly watched. You have to remember, like even this stuff right now, people want NFL stuff. Like, wow, yes, we have something. I get it. But remember this. The NFL is already saturated in the States. I mean, it's not like there's got this major growing power in the United States. So the kids are a good little entry point.
That's like saying, would you agree if you put NFL on MTV? Like, it makes no sense. Like, that's not what it was designed for, in my opinion. Like, I think Nickelodeon is made for cartoons, and you can watch, like, Double Dare, and you can watch The Loud House and all those things. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes the NFL. Like, to me, it just doesn't fit. It'd be the same thing if you put it on MTV. Like, all right, I want to watch, like, I don't watch MTV at all, but I assume Jersey Shore is still on there, and every once in a while, maybe TRL. Oh, and here's the NFL, by the way, for you. Like, to me, it doesn't flow. It doesn't mesh. It doesn't work out. That's just my opinion.
I get it, but where else are you going to target young people? That's what their goal is.
The internet.
Okay, well,
Twitter.
Sell your streaming rights.
Facebook.
I mean, right now, they don't have that. They're under current deals.
That's what I would do. But, I mean, hey, do what you want to do.
Way to put me out of business, by the way.
Hey, it's like I said, it's not going to hurt the NFL at all. It's going to help the NFL. I'm just saying I don't get the whole point of putting on Nickelodeon. But, hey, to each their own, man. I mean, you're going to make money off it, so have at it.
It'll be interesting to see how they present it. Again, I think, it's always about money, but I do think it's about reaching that next audience, too. I mean, right now, everybody's trying to reach millennials and, that group that's young. In every business. And so how do you reach them? You go where they're at. And so this one's even lesser than that. Obviously, they're going for little kids and trying to get them excited about football and their favorite player or whatever it might be. So it'll be interesting to see. What do you think about the playoff expansion? We've talked about this in the past. I kind of forget your view on it. I think it's a big win for fans. We can talk about player safety. That's obviously a deal here. But I think it's a huge reward, too, potentially for that team that wins the regular season, that number one bye. I think most people would take the bye. I understand. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. You could have some rustiness. That's true. But most people want the bye. I would say 10 out of 10 coaches would say, give me the bye. I'll deal with that.
Yeah.
Because I get a week off. It feels like an advantage. Well, now there's one team in each conference that gets a big-time advantage. I like that. But I think the fans are a big winner here. We get more playoff football, more important football, and more teams playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me either way. You can make the argument, well, obviously there's more risk of injury, more games, but like it is what it is from that standpoint. The last thing I want to see, though, is I don't want to see it oversaturated, okay? I don't want to see a 7-9 team make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you have a losing record, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs. I hate to tell you that. And that's the last thing I want to see. So,
we're going to get that.
Well, yeah. Well,
we will get it.
I don't want to see. I mean,
but we will.
Well, and I guess that's my issue then. Like, you're going to reward a team that lost more than they won in the regular season, and you're going to justify that by putting them in the playoffs. How is that fair? So then I can go and make an argument where don't even have divisions anymore. You just have the best records, go in, because to sit here and tell me, the 7-9 team, they played in a hard division, but they're still a playoff caliber team. And guess what? Maybe that 7-9 team wins the first round. Maybe they make a little noise. I don't care. If you lose more games than you win, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs.
Well, I don't mind the take at all, and I don't mind the take about realigning and just making them two big conferences. I think what that would do is be really difficult from a schedule. Right now, it's cookie cutter for them on a scheduling standpoint, and I think they like that. I don't know what that would do to complicate scheduling if you did it in that way. They've tried to create rivalries. I don't really think for the most part, rivalries haven't been created like they are in college football. I don't think that's ever taken off in the NFL. There are a couple, there are a few, but like the NFC East, you see it. I think the AFC North, you have some of it. The NFC North, you've got some built-in ones, but I don't think they're capitalizing on rivalries as much as maybe they would like to anyway. So I could see them going to that, but I think right now from a scheduling standpoint, it makes it a lot easier to keep them in the divisions and playing, a different division every year and that rotating basis. It simplifies it to a degree. Not to say somebody couldn't figure it out the other way, but it is interesting. And at the end of the day, you're still lining up the teams in the AFC and NFC anyway. And you're that 8-8 team or 7-9. You still got to have the best record out of all of them. To qualify for the playoffs. Well,
also, too, you can make the argument, say, next year in the AFC, probably the Ravens are still probably the favorites, possibly, I would say.
KC.
KC as well. But so let's say out of KC or Baltimore, one of those teams just gets off to a hot start, man, and maybe they win 12, 13 games that year, okay? And it's like a foregone conclusion that, they have the bye locked up. Like, let's say we're like week 12 and it's, they already have the bye, like they're that good and everything. Well, then doesn't that kind of hurt the other teams where it's like, well, then let's shut some guys down because the number one seed's already locked up? Like, at least when you had two, teams on playoff byes, I think it was more competitive because either you go for the 1 seed or the 2 seed. Now there's only a 1 seed. Obviously, it weeds out everybody else. And usually the way the NFL works is you have that one team that's kind of above everybody else to get that 1 seed. So if that's the case, then you have a bunch of other teams, in my opinion, shutting it down just because, you're not going to get the 1 seed, so what's the point?
I think that's a worst-case scenario. You look at Kansas City this year, and they benefited from the Baltimore Ravens losing and having the 2 seed. They benefited because the Patriots lost that last week of the year against the Dolphins. They benefited from those things.
So you think teams are going to try to go for the 2 seed over the 1 seed?
No. I'm just saying I think the seeding will still matter. And how quick can you realistically in the NFL? Most years, how quick can you lock in the 1 seed? I would say you'd have to get almost to week 15 to absolutely mathematically lock in the 1 seed. Very rare. Maybe like the Patriots of 2007 when they were undefeated. Yeah. Maybe they locked it in way early. I don't know. But I think it's tough to lock in the 1 too soon to then kind of just, rest everybody and get all out of whack and all those things. And by the way, if you're doing that in the NFL, the way it's designed, you're pretty damn good.
Yeah, for sure.
You are pretty damn good if you're doing that. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Jan tweets. What's the latest? What's next? What will the Jacks have to get? How's this end? Storylines that, we've talked about them. But there are some interesting storylines that haven't been updated. One, Jan finally brings it, and freshens it up. But, Jadeveon Clowney's still out there, man. No movement on the Clowney front.
We are far past the point of cryptic tweets now, Brent.
No, they're straight up now.
We're entering a new landscape of Yannick Ngakoue.
And you tweeted something about a conversation we had about a month ago on the show, and I want you to revisit that a little bit. It's Jacksonville Icemen Day here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We'll talk about the Icemen as well in a bit. But next, Yannick Ngakoue, some Jaguars talk, and Doug Marrone. We'll hear from him on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690. A tornado watch is in effect for Baker County until 9 o'clock this evening. A gusty band of showers and a few thunderstorms this evening, then clearing skies later and turning cooler, dropping into the 50s. And a nice Wednesday. It'll become mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the low to mid 70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
CGC Water Treatment is celebrating Connecticut's 50th year anniversary with 50% savings for you. Purchase a Premier softener and save 50% off a K5, Connecticut's premier reverse osmosis system. When the shelves at the store are empty, it's a great feeling to have purified water right at home. Call 904-694-2242. Financing available with approved credit. Don't worry about needing bottled water. Call 904-694-2242 or visit cgcwater.com. Tell them Brent sent you. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Hey, boss, check out this headline. Safe Touch Security. Your health and safety are all we do.
Safe Touch again? Is that all you ever talk about?
Boss, your mom still has a Safe Touch security system, right?
That is correct. Don't make any comments.
No, I can't blame you. Having a Safe Touch system is like having a halo of protection surrounding her.
Exactly. For instance, let's say, God forbid, that she needed the fire department.
Not to worry, Safe Touch can respond.
Or let's say she stubbed her toe, the mother of all toe stubs, and she couldn't get to the phone.
Safe Touch can contact emergency toe fixes.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad Safe Touch is out there.
Boss!
I know, but that doesn't mean we don't stick to the Crooks of us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
A lot of people don't understand, including myself, I didn't, now I do, the impact of having a stroke.
My memory is shot.
When I woke up, I couldn't speak.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
It's a new life, but I'm gonna make it better. I'm coming back. Ask your doctor, check your blood pressure.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Buy online from the comfort of your home when you shop ArlingtonToyota.com. At Arlington, they get it. They know right now things are different. But instead of thinking of things we can't do, Arlington is focused on what we can do, like shopping online from home at ArlingtonToyota.com. Getting your ride delivered to your door. Even the parts department will deliver parts to your door. And service? Drop it off and they'll give you a free ride home. I knew I always liked Arlington Toyota. Plus, you can still get savings up to 50% less on the ride you've been wanting. And it's all at arlingtontoyota.com, like a 2020 Toyota Corolla. It's not $17,635. Now it's only $14,991. That's $14,991 for a pre-owned 2020 Toyota Corolla at Arlington. How about a 2019 Toyota RAV4? It's not $24,195. Now it's $19,471. Yeah, just $19,471 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 at Arlington. For shopping with all the comforts of home, visit arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/50% off for offer details.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. Our legal team can help you understand your options after an accident. We will file your claim and fight for the full compensation you deserve. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville. These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents, instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not on the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home. Get a virtual consultation. Visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com. Or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663.
Why, did you know that One-to-One Financial is the only financial institution in Jacksonville with a fleet of live teller machines? That means you can practice social distancing and still do nearly all of your banking using a drive-through LTM at most One-to-One Financial locations. It's like an ATM with FaceTime, so you have the option to connect with a live teller via video feed when you need one. No other credit union or bank offers this in Jacksonville. See what else you're missing at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida. But big and small, businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open to serve you. Fields Cadillac, Gold Star Adjusters, Papa John's, iFix and Sell, Body Muse, Say Mary Seafood. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we'll all get through this.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The first thing for me is, having been a player, when you're a coach, obviously you're dealing with the players the whole time. And, Yannick's been great. I mean, and everything that he's done everything that I've asked him to do as a head coach, and everything that Todd Washer's asked him to do as a defensive lineman. And when the business starts getting involved, it's tough because as a coach, you want your players to be happy. So from that standpoint, I understand the challenges that are going on.
Well, that's Doug Marrone earlier today. Met with the media and had some comments about a variety of topics, which was cool. We did the old Zoom thing today with the media.
How'd that work out?
It was good. Yeah. It was a couple of,
I thought Austin was going to get on there and make a background that just says "Pay Jan" on it.
If I know how to use Zoom, I definitely would have done that. Or else I wouldn't even say pay on. I would have said good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Like I've been saying for the past, 3 or 4 months now.
Yeah, you changed it somewhere along the way to good luck with that. And that's kind of where we're at in the good luck with that. So we'll hear from Doug Marrone. But Marrone's interesting because he's been very supportive of Jan, been very supportive of the players, and has really played the fence on this because he's seen it both sides. The organization has power and contractually, obviously he wants him on the field, but he's been a player before, and he relates to the players in that sense. And so he does not give in and try to put the iron fist down and be like, hey, you got to be here. Or he answers the question, and I would think from a player standpoint, if I'm Yannick Ngakoue, I appreciate what Marrone says about it because he's not sitting there siding with the front office and ownership and being like, well, you better get in here or else. Mm-hmm. You could certainly take that task. It's not. It wouldn't help you much probably to do so. But here's the latest today on the Yannick Ngakoue front. And Jan he saw a tweet, and this was by Mike Garofalo from NFL Network. The Jaguars have heard from multiple interested teams about a possible trade for Yannick Ngakoue, who turns 25 today. Happy birthday, Jan. The Jags value him and won't give him away for a little return, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as we draw closer to the draft. Okay, so the draft is a benchmark there in terms of a timetable. More on that in a moment. Jan says, shortly after that tweet, which was this morning now, Jan says, let's agree to disagree. Why hold a man from taking care of his family? It's obvious my time is up in my current situation. Let's both move on. Jaguars. He tweets at the Jaguars, and the checkered flag, of course, is there. And then an hour later, he said, truth is out. No doubt this is where Jan, he felt the whole time. Obviously, when he says taking care of his family, that's getting that long-term extension and that deal, no doubt about it, because, I mean, he could play on a $19 or a $17.8 million franchise tag this year, and that will probably be okay for the family, at least for 2020.
Yeah.
But he's talking about the longer extension. And, again, this is very difficult, I think, for normal people in normal jobs to get a grip of sometimes in that sense, because we're talking so much money for NFL players. But talking about longevity and big-time money and big extension and guaranteed money in a league where guaranteed money in terms of contracts year in, year out does not exist. So this is a chance for him to make some big bucks. And if he couldn't get it done last year, obviously, played on the rookie deal. This year he's been tagged because they can't come to an agreement, and he wants out of Jacksonville. And then it might set up next year for him to be a free agent in full and get paid. Or just the scenarios, if you're just jumping in on this conversation, well, the trade scenario is a big option. And it will bring up, when would he get traded? How much will the Jags take for him? And are they willing to sit on this franchise tag and play a little hardball with Yannick Ngakoue? We've talked about those scenarios for months and months and months now. We feel differently. I think he's going to get traded. I think he is going to end up on the tag and have to play on the tag or say no to the tag. I don't think the Jags are going to get what they want in return. That's the way I feel right now. I think the market, like we talked about last week, I think it is a little slower on pass rushers right now. Little buyer beware because of the DeMarcus Lawrences and the Frank Clark, because they actually didn't perform at as high a level as they were getting paid for last year. And I also think the Clowney one is interesting. Why has that not happened yet? And on top of all that, Clowney's coming off a 3-sack year. Jan's coming off an 8-sack year. Those are not 15-sack years. Eric Armstead just got paid. One of the reasons he got paid, just came off his best year. So it looks like trending up, arrow up. I think you could make the claim that Jan is coming off his best year, even though the numbers might not indicate that. I think his all-around game might have been the best of his career.
So you're still under the impression that Yannick Ngakoue is going to get tagged?
Well, he is tagged.
Well, but he's going to play underneath the tag is what you're saying, though.
I think he will be forced to play under the tag or not. He eventually will play under the tag in 2020, whether he plays 6 games or 16 games. That listen, I believe Jan. I don't think this is a bluff. I think he is a very principled man, and I respect that.
Yep.
But I think he might leave a lot of money on the table even under the tag in the first half of the year. I think by the time the accrued year and all that stuff happens, he'll play. I just think he has to play at that point. He won't leave that on the table. But he could leave some $12 million of that $18 million on the table potentially here in 2020. I got a feeling that even as principled as he is, I think the smart money would say, go play on that tag and gamble on yourself, but gamble on yourself with $18 million in your pocket this time around instead of $2 million last year. I think that's what will end up happening, but I wouldn't put it by him to sit out for some games early part and pass up $1.2 million a week.
So here's what I'm going to say. If you do not trade Yannick Ngakoue, and if you choose to keep him under the franchise tag and expect him to play under it, once again, I'm going to point to my large, bulbous, giant head over there with the quote that says, good luck with that. And here's why. A couple weeks ago, I talked about how Yannick Ngakoue has done everything by the book. Okay, I think we would both agree that he's been a professional. He's been a fantastic teammate. He's helped the younger players along. He showed up to OTAs during contract negotiations when he didn't have to show up to OTAs. So that kind of shows you that he's definitely a team-first guy. But there's a problem with that. When you want a new contract or when you want to get out of the situation that you're in right now in Jacksonville, those guys don't get what they want, okay? Guys like Jalen Ramsey, guys that will bring the media scrutiny, guys that will, circle the wagons and everything like that and cause the chaos. Those are the guys that get what they want. Those are the guys that get out of the situation that they're at and go to a new destination. Jalen Ramsey did that, all right? Jalen Ramsey had this crazy press conference. He's dropping F-bombs. He has his back issues. We're all talking about it. It's on ESPN. He's doing podcasts. It was everywhere, man. The Jalen Ramsey story for a little bit was probably the biggest story in all of football. But what happened to Jalen Ramsey? He got what he wanted, and he went to L.A. The problem with Yannick Ngakoue right now, because let's be honest, Yannick Ngakoue does not want to be here. All right, he wants out. He's made it perfectly clear. He made it perfectly clear after, I think, the Colts game, the last game of the season, when he put up the checkered flag. And even though Tom Coughlin was gone, I think the writing was on the wall for Ngakoue saying he wanted to get out. So I was very adamant about saying this, where if you're Yannick Ngakoue, you look yourself in the mirror and you said, you know what, I've done everything right. I was a third-round pick. I worked my butt off. I was a team leader. I had a little altercation with Dante Fowler in the media, but that's football. That stuff happens. But I've done everything by the book. I've done everything that they've asked me to do, and then some. I've been kind of like a captain role in that locker room. I've helped out the younger guys, and I'm not getting reimbursed for it. I got offered a contract. They lowballed me. And the contract talk stopped after that, right? And we can say that was all Tom Coughlin, so be it, whatever it was. But the matter of the fact is that we think he got lowballed, he didn't like it, and that was that. And he played on his first-year deal. Okay, whatever. But the point of the matter is, Brent, that he didn't complain about it when the contracts were ceased. He didn't go to social media. He didn't go to ESPN. He didn't go on a podcast and say, well, look at what I've done for this organization, and I'm not getting paid like it. No, he kept his head down, he believed in himself, and he went out there and he performed. Now, you can tell me, oh, he only had 8 sacks this past season, not that good. Well, then I'm going to tell you, look at the turnovers that he caused, look at the pressures that he caused, and then get back to me. The guy still played very well, considering he had a banged-up hamstring for the first quarter of the season. So when you're Yannick Ngakoue now, and after everything he went through, you see Miles Jack get a new contract, who wasn't on anybody's radar at all, get a new contract. Miles Jack gets a new contract. And you're sitting here, after the season, you're locking, you're thinking to yourself, what do I got to do, man? Okay? Frank Clark got paid. DeMarcus Lawrence got paid. Why didn't I get paid? So you're sitting there, you're thinking, man, do I got to flip the script a little bit? Do I got to change who I am? Because I see players like Antonio Brown. I see what happened to Jalen Ramsey. I see these guys that speak out a little bit, like guys from the Dolphins this past season, guys that speak out. And when they speak out and they cause a distraction, well, guess what? They get traded. They get let go. They get what they wanted. So it was only a matter of time before Yannick Ngakoue decided, you know what? The personality that I brought to the Jaguars, the personality that got me to the point where I'm at right now of being a very coveted defensive end and an edge rusher in the NFL, that personality, it's done me no favors. I'm flipping the script. And what does he do? He looks to his friend Jalen Ramsey, and he says, well, Jalen Ramsey was the best player in Jacksonville, okay? Any team would be lucky to have Jalen Ramsey. But what does Jalen Ramsey do? He sabotages himself, sabotages the team, and he gets traded out of Jacksonville. Did you see what Yannick Ngakoue posted on Instagram this morning? What did he say? He said, Jalen Ramsey was never crazy. He knew the truth. I would say Yannick Ngakoue is about to take the Jalen Ramsey approach, like I said a couple weeks ago. And now he's going to, instead of being a professional, instead of going low-key and letting, his agent handle it, well, now here comes the storm.
Yeah, gloves are off.
Here comes the media, and I think Yannick Ngakoue is going to walk away from the Jaguars, go to a different team, and get traded. But instead of, it being respectful and classy, well, now the gloves are off, and when he walks away, Brent, he's going to walk away with cinders, in the background, because that's just the way it is now, because he realizes that the nice guy, the low-key guy, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, by the way, I think to your point about doing everything right, if you want to know how much this guy still plays and loves to play, and it didn't matter if he was making $2 million, 2 cents, or $20 million, go watch that last game of the year. When he knew he was a free agent to be or going to be tagged, and he left it all out there. There's a play. I remember we were on Jaguars All Access. I think it was that last game, and Jeff Lageman took us to the film room on it. And it was the hustle. The what he did on that play was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. That's who that guy is. No doubt about it. What I will just say this, and then we're going to bring Bob Arablo from Jacksonville Icemen on in a minute, and we'll get back to the discussion. But what I will say, you said this. Jalen Ramsey got what he wanted. Mm-hmm. The reason Jalen Ramsey got what he wanted is because the Jags got what they wanted in return. They got 2 first-round picks and a 4th. Jan will get what he wants if the Jags can get what they want/need in return.
But don't forget how the process was expedited when Jalen Ramsey started bringing up the back issues, when Shad Khan said he was going to play and then Jalen said he wasn't going to play. That expedited the process.
It did, but what we don't know is if they weren't offered the 2 firsts and a 4th, would they have hung on to him and played hardball? And right now, the Jags are in a position to play hardball because they have franchise tagged him. They have the rights. They have the power at this time of it. They can do that until they get what they want or feel what they need in return for Yannick Ngakoue. That's where it turned for Jalen Ramsey. Shad Khan, I think, was willing to play hardball until they said, hey, 2 first-round picks and a 4th. Holy cats. We'll take that. We ain't signing this guy to a $100 million deal anyway. What will it take for Yannick Ngakoue?
One more thing, and then we'll get to Bob. But what is it going to say that Yannick Ngakoue, the guy that you praise for being, the ultimate team player, the guy that you praise for, just being the ultimate guy, doing the Jaguar way, what does it say about your organization then when the guy turns around, acts like Jalen Ramsey just to get out of it?
Yeah,
it's not going to make your team look good.
No, no, right now it's not. But let me ask you this. Has it hurt getting guys like Joe Schobert and Tyler Eifert and other people to Jacksonville? I mean,
do you think Tyler Eifert had a big laundry list
those
of demand?
I understand.
Yeah.
Those aren't A-list guys, but it hasn't seemed like did somebody spurn the Jags in free agency because I see what's going on with Jan, I see what's going on with Jalen Ramsey?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I can't answer that question.
Will we find that out? We'll see down the road. More Jan talk in a moment. It's Jacksonville Icemen Day. We've got the good jerseys on here for the Icemen, and right now the president, owner, every title possible of the Jacksonville Icemen joins us. Hey, thanks for hanging around. Sorry we wanted to finish up that Yannick Ngakoue thought, and we'll get back to the football stuff. But it is Iceman Day here on the show. Bob, I hope you and your family are doing well in these crazy times, and hopefully the organization's doing well as well.
We are. The only downside of this is I can't see you guys in those beautiful Iceman jerseys. But no, we are, and you kept talking about Jalen Ramsey over there. We were upset when Jalen left. He was actually a big Iceman fan, so.
Yeah, good point. That's right. He had paid a visitor, too.
Fan. Big hockey guy.
Hey, so what's happening? You actually are involved in not only the Icemen, but also down to minor league baseball team in the Fort Myers area, Minnesota Twins affiliate. What's going on with these franchises? How are you guys being impacted? 2 different ones. One was starting a season. The other one was closing a season. Give us a sense of it.
Yeah, we got it on both sides of the equation here. The team down south, the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles, the single-A team for the Twins, we had our spring training cut short for the Twins, and now we're just waiting to figure out when we're going to open up down there. This will be our second year of owning the team, our first year of running it. So we're excited about that, but we're up here in Jacksonville right now, and all our attention has been put on making the Iceman season number 4 next year, All-Star season, the best possible we could do. We felt bad about losing 7 home games this year. We felt bad about not being able to finish off what was a really nice playoff run, in terms of getting into the playoffs. But listen, there's things that are bigger than hockey, bigger than football, and we just hope that everyone stays safe and stays healthy, and is that opening night next year, and we can forget about all this.
Yeah, Bob, I mean, when we talk about you had that giant homestand coming up, and I was excited. I was going to come actually skate with you guys right before the season got canceled and everything like that. So unfortunately I couldn't do that. And it's weird, right? Because we hear about all these NFL stories about players donating their money and their time to help out with the coronavirus, the NBA doing the same thing as well. And I always feel like hockey kind of gets like a back seat a little bit just because maybe it's not as popular as the NFL. It's not as popular as the NBA, but there's some really cool things that, like the NHL teams and even like just Bauer, for instance. Like, so Bauer, they make hockey skates and they make helmets, Brent. So they actually, ceased all production on those items. And now they're making like makeshift like masks and everything for like hospitals and for workers. So like they literally stopped production of all the hockey equipment, and now they're making hockey masks. And I think they've already delivered like 100,000 devices to different like hospitals in Canada and the U.S. Bob, have you heard like any other cool stories that have been going on with like the NHL or just with you guys and trying to get through this crazy time with coronavirus?
Yeah, there's so many stories of hockey equipment companies and hockey teams. We're involved right now in with an online auction for our Publix Publix chicken tender sub jerseys that got national attention this year. And we're going to donate money back from that auction to feeding Northeast Florida. They're the ones that are doing the hard work of feeding people that can't get to the supermarkets and elderly who you don't want in the supermarkets because of the risk to them. So so we're doing that. Lots of teams around the ECHL are doing different things to help out their organizations. Listen, I've said this a million times. We're all part of our communities, and now normally we entertain them with exciting hockey. Now it's our job to step up and help out people that don't have the mobility that some of us still have. So we have to all come together.
Bob Arablo, Jacksonville Iceman, with us here on Jacksonville Iceman Day on ESPN 690. That's what we're trying to do too, Bob. Is just try to keep. Listen, you guys help us. We hope to help you and all the local teams in Jacksonville. This is our lifeblood too. And so we want to make sure we put some of the local teams and colleges and everybody on a pedestal at least one day during all this, and that's kind of what we're doing today. So we appreciate you guys participating. You're so involved in the minor league aspect of it, whether it is the baseball side or the hockey side with the ECHL. Is there any? I guess I don't want to go doomsday on you, but the longer this goes, are there some significant ramifications potentially for minor league sports and franchises that we really haven't got that far down the road to even think about? Is there some major concern in the circles that you live and walk that this thing could really, put a dent in or put a mark on some business in your industry?
Yeah, when it's all said and done, we are a small business, and the longer we go without generating revenue, the tougher it gets. The lucky part is that we have, Andy Kaufman as our majority partner in both teams. We have a great ownership group here, especially in Jacksonville, and our commitment is not to change anything. We've got our full staff. We've been working from home for 2 weeks to social distance from each other, which after a long season is not a bad idea, but we've been using Zoom and Skype and all the other tools. We're keeping this together. We know that at some point in time this is going to clear out, and just going on our Facebook page and our listening to our fans, they're dying for us to come back in October, and that's what we are aiming for. And the same thing with the baseball team. That's a little more sense of urgency because our season was supposed to start next week or a week and a half from now on April 9th. So every week that goes by, we're losing another season. But again, the ownership there is committed to keeping that team going, and our partnership with the Minnesota Twins certainly helps. They've been awesome, and we'll keep it all together. The legislation that came out of Congress certainly helps all small businesses. So we'll keep it all together and then come back in a big way. I have a feeling that when all this is over, people are going to be itching to get out of their house and come root for the local teams, go to the movies, go to the restaurants. And, I think we'll come back stronger in both economies, Fort Myers and here, that we'll come back stronger than before the virus.
Very well said.
No doubt about it.
Bob Arablo, I'm just checking a couple of tweets the Icemen have had today. These are ones, well, both of them are really fun, and one's for a really good cause. The Icemen say, we're missing Fang and Iceman Nation more and more, so we created a virtual puzzle to have a little fun at home. Click the link below to give it a try. So you can do that on social media. So you can put the puzzle together with the Icemen. That's a good idea. And also that Publix jersey auction is live, so head to the Iceman app, and you can bid on that, and some of the proceeds will go to feeding Northeast Florida. Bob, nice job keeping all that together. Thanks for supporting everything that we do, but I know you love talking to all your fans out there on a day like today and at times like this, so we appreciate what you do.
Well, we appreciate you giving us that platform and the ability. You two guys, what can I say, all season long, you're talking about the Icemen as well, and we really appreciate that so much. We are the number 2 team in town now in terms of average attendance, and And the support we've gotten over the first 3 years has been incredible. And we're planning an incredible fourth-year All-Star season. And we just can't wait to get past this and get it executed. In the meantime, we ask everybody in this great city of Jacksonville to listen to what comes out of Mayor Curry's office. And the quicker the more we listen to the advice that's coming out of there, the quicker we can get rid of this thing. So, stay healthy, stay safe, and go Icemen.
Thanks, Bob. We appreciate it. Be well. Good to hear from you, and give your family our best, too.
Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. That's Bob Arablo from the Jacksonville Icemen. I think we have a caller on the line, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Todd, I believe it is, wants to talk a little bit, Jan, as we get back to some football talk here on ESPN 690 here on a Tuesday. What's up, man?
The take I have on Jan is I believe the guy is going to be a gold jacket guy one day. I really do. But I heard a rumor before that the Seahawks had offered late first-round pick and then a swap of our second round with their second round, which would effectively move us up in the second-round draft. If the guy, he's dead set on not wanting to be here, would it not be smart to take a deal like that and maybe think about signing somebody like Clowney if it's all possible? Because I feel like, if Jan's gone, that's going to put a lot of double teams on Josh Allen, and his production may nosedive because of that. So what did you guys think about that?
Thanks, Todd. We appreciate it. Thanks for the call and listen to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. That's really what it comes down to. Now, keep an eye on the Seattle rumors, the Philly rumors, the this rumor, the that rumor, even the Garofalo stuff, I think is how you say, from NFL Network. Mm-hmm. Who knows how solid all that is? Are there calls being made? I think absolutely there are calls being made. But what is substantial and what is not? I think they got ahead of that a little bit 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, and all these rumors were flying about Jan. I don't know if there was much substance to that at all. I can't find much. Mm-hmm. So what is the value is something that's very hard to answer for Jan. It's not 2 first-round picks. Nobody's given up 2 first-round picks. I think that's clear as day. Jags would have already done that if somebody was willing to do it. But what would you take? What could you take? And, Jan and his camp have a chance to also help expedite this, too, and find the right fit, find the right deal. Nobody can do that right now. You also have to wonder, can there be enough communication? Can the sides work together so they both get what they want out of this? I'm a big fan of that, right? I'm a huge fan of communication. I think that's been a big problem in this entire deal is communications if you go all the way back to August. And I think that has been a major player in separating these two sides and this divide, especially from Yannick Ngakoue and what he's come out saying. Now he's adamant that he does not want to play here. But it all comes down to finding the right deal, man. What that deal is, I just don't know. I don't know how much you have to get for him to feel good if you're the Jags. Remember, they already have 12 picks in this year's draft. They've got a bunch more next year.
So to get back to Todd's point, with the whole Seattle trade, not sure how much, legs there are to that. But I will say this, are 2 first-rounders probably preposterous to think about? Well, absolutely. But at the same time, if you're going to tell me at the start of the 2019 season that Laramie Tunsil would get 2 first-round picks at a left tackle for Houston, I would say you're crazy as well. But guess what? It happened. I mean, Houston got Kenny Stills as well, but you essentially traded away 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. Now, keep in mind, that was, halfway through the season when teams are desperate. Sometimes when teams are right on the door of going to the playoffs or making that run, they'll stack the box a little more, and then they'll try to sweeten the deal, and obviously they'll make a sacrifice if they have to. The problem with the Yannick Ngakoue situation right now is there hasn't even been a draft yet, right? So there's plenty of time to go around, but here's my issue with it. And this is what I said before during the previous segment. The more you wait with Yannick Ngakoue, I think the worse it's going to be for the optics of your team. Because if Yannick Ngakoue keeps going down the road of Jalen Ramsey and he keeps, tweeting out, well, guess what? We're going to talk about it. The national people are going to talk about it. And all of a sudden you have the Jacksonville Jaguars where you don't want them to be, in a negative light. So I would rather see this trade get done as soon as possible, in my opinion, unless you plan on playing him and we'll see what happens and push them all in. So be it. I think it's going to be a what show if that happens, but time will tell. Your other point, too, Clowney coming to Jacksonville. He doesn't see Clowney. I mean, okay, well, let's go to paper quick. I mean, let's go to the stats. If you look at it, what he can do, Brent, like Clowney, to me, is the top guy in free agency because we talked about it before. He can do anything, right? He's played in a 3-4 outside linebacker. He can play a 4-3 defensive end, obviously. He can play standing up. He can play with his hand in the dirt. So I'm not worried about that at all fitting the Jaguars scheme. And I think if you look at Josh Allen and Clowney on the outside, well, yeah, that would be a pretty legit pairing, to say the least. I just think that with what he's asking right now, and I get it, no one's given it to him yet, but I think eventually a team could come around maybe after the draft. I think with what he's asking right now, Jacksonville's not going to come by and offer it to him, especially keep in mind, this is the same team that didn't want to give Jan last year $19 to $20 million.
Well, what's interesting about the Clowney thing is you have to really like him and then be willing to go do business with kind of get yourself in a different Jan situation. I mean, Clowney, I think, has been difficult to get done for Seattle, for other teams, because he wants so much above what you want to pay. And I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think the Jacksonville situation is less about money now for Jan. I think if somebody offered him $18 million to sign somewhere else, he might do it tomorrow, right, to get him out of here. I think he would. I think the Jags, on the other hand, could offer him $23 million and he might not sign. So it's a little bit more about than money. But the Clowney situation, I mean, that's what it was about. It was about Clowney thought he was worth like $22, $23 million, and he couldn't find the market in the last few weeks in free agency.
It's hard to justify not paying Jan last year and then all of a sudden turning around and paying, Clowney a lot more this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to justify that, especially an older player with some injury history who had 3.5 sacks last season. To me, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you can't justify doing that. It
would be very difficult to justify. The one thing about this now, Austin, is you got to ask yourself, listen, you could put everything you want on the Jags until, in my opinion, until December. While Coughlin was there, and it might not have just been Coughlin. It might have been Shad Khan, might have been Dave Caldwell, might have been whatever. Why it broke down to this point. I think after that, once Coughlin gets fired, now we don't know what kind of communications, what offers were on the table. Was there more bad blood that kind of got brewing in the last couple months? But it's really been, since the end of the season, this has been on Jan more so to say, I'm out of here. I don't care if you go get John Gruden and Bill Belichick and whoever else. I'm not staying in Jacksonville. Because they made the move with Coughlin. It didn't seem like it helped the situation at all. And I'm not saying they made the move just because Jan was upset at Coughlin. I'm just saying from an optics standpoint, it was like, okay, he had a problem with the front office. Not with the coaching staff. Had a problem with the front office. And they got rid of the guy in the front office. Yet it didn't remedy the situation at all.
It was too late.
Like, at all. So that side, it's almost like it doesn't matter if the Jags are now trying to reach out and try to fix the situation. It's not working. So this is all, like you had said kind of earlier, it's all Jan kind of being Jalen-esque and saying, I don't care what you do. I'm out of here. And I'm going to do whatever I've got to do to get out of here.
Once again, I just feel like the writing was on the wall even last season, Brent. I think after Miles Jack got paid and everything, and towards the end of the season, when he started putting these checkered flags after every single game, it was obvious. He just didn't want to be in Jacksonville anymore because he doesn't feel appreciated. I think loyalty's big with him, and he doesn't feel loyalty. And you can go ahead and, cancel out the main problem, which was probably Tom Coughlin. But what happened, happened. And I think he just wants to move past and go someplace else and just, start the clean slate.
Yeah, but what I don't think they predicted or he predicted or whatever is the fact that Clowney right now is still out there. There's not as big a market for even Jan. And Eric Armstead, the guy who's got the least resume of them all, is the guy that got the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's the way it looks right now in terms of this off season, the last month or so, once the new league year started. More talk from the NFL coming up next. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Jason Fitz will join us, and we give him some ingredients to put together on a nice meal next.
Jacksonville Truck Center is here to help you get in the truck you deserve. When you need a fleet vehicle, Jacksonville Truck Center has the largest selection of pre-owned commercial vehicles, including cargo vans and work trucks. We're here to make it easy for you. There's commercial or personal financing available, even if you have bad credit. Don't spend your tax return money anywhere else. Visit the new Jacksonville Truck Center on Arlington Expressway next to the Southside Connector or online at jacksonvilletruckcenter.com.
It's the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and it can be your home course as well. The Golf Club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210, family owned and operated, and a fun course to play. The Golf Club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facility and player-friendly golf course design, it will be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. Become a member in 2020. For more information, call the Golf Club at Southampton at 904-287-PLAY.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students, elementary through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org to learn more.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
You've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You have to carefully monitor your health for the rest of your life. And you have an increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Cut, take two, action.
You've been diagnosed with a new purpose, to fight for the amazing life you made for yourself. To look that risk of heart disease square in the face and say, no, not me. You've been given a new opportunity to live. Get started at NoDiabetesByHeart.org.
We here at J. David Tax Law wanted to let our community know that we are here to help individuals and businesses with tax debt issues during the coronavirus event. The United States government has issued a $1 trillion economic stimulus package. The IRS has been tasked with collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. These programs expire on July 15th, 2020. So if you have federal or sales tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, or unfiled returns, we are here for you and your family. Call J. David Tax Law now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com. Greater peace of mind is only a click or a phone call away.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida. But big and small, businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open to serve you. Zaxby's, Armor Guard, Avid Power Windows and Auto Glass, Ortega Paint, Broxton Bay Apartments, Jacksonville Cake Decorating Supplies. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we'll all get through this.
Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Buy online from the comfort of your home when you shop ArlingtonToyota.com. At Arlington, they get it. They know right now things are different. But instead of thinking of things we can't do, Arlington is focused on what we can do, like shopping online from home at ArlingtonToyota.com. Getting your ride delivered to your door. Even the parts department will deliver parts to your door. And service? Drop it off and they'll give you a free ride home. I knew I always liked Arlington Toyota. Plus, you can still get savings up to 50% less on the ride you've been wanting. And it's all at ArlingtonToyota.com. Like a 2020 Toyota Camry. It's not $26,995. Now it's only $22,791. Yeah, $22,791 for a pre-owned 2020 Toyota Camry at Arlington. How about a 2019 Toyota Sienna? Don't pay $28,225. At Arlington, it's just $22,691. Just $22,691 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Sienna at Arlington. For shopping with all the comforts of home, visit arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/50% off for offer details.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to...
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Pros can count on Lowe's to have the largest in-store selection of DeWalt tools in stock than any national retailer. And now we're bringing you even more DeWalt power, because DeWalt's new lineup of 20-volt Max XR tools with Power Detect delivers maximum performance when paired with high-capacity XR batteries. Save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt Max XR with Power Detect brushless cordless drill and impact driver combo kit, now just $299. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 4/1, U.S. only while supplies last.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you ordered some wipers online with our free same-day store pickup? No problem. We'll grab those for you so you can get back on the road. You know, we also offer free next-day delivery. You just order what you need on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m., and we deliver it to your front door the next day. It's perfect for those projects that can wait until tomorrow. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible items on orders over $35. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
Hey boss, have you heard about Safe Touch? They're now offering a free health and wellness package with every Safe Touch system.
Health and wellness package? Actually, that sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, well, not for us crooks. You know the Safe Touch two-way communicator?
Of course I know the Safe Touch two-way communicator.
Yeah, so we already know that it's the best deterrent against, crooks like us, but it can also be like a 911 dispatcher for other emergencies.
Like medical emergencies.
Yeah, there's the two-way communicator, the emergency buttons, the smartphone app. It's all just extra peace of mind for Safe Touch customers.
Great. As if people need another reason to get Safe Touch.
Well, the good news is it's not going to change our Crooks Are Us motto.
Stay away from Safe Touch houses. Some things never change.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur? Then we invite you to sign up for the Achieve Your Business Dream workshop the SCORE offers in conjunction with the Jacks Chamber. It will be held again in February, May, August, and October. Held over 4 consecutive weeks, this workshop provides valuable information on a range of topics. If you want to learn more about any of the workshops SCORE offers, then go to the Take a Workshop tab at jacksonville.score.org.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I always look at the sport as not what I want individually to have happen, unless it's a safety issue, where I think, where we've done really a good job of keeping, getting this game safer and safer. And that's what we'll continue to work on as a priority every year. But if it's something, the fans are a big part of it. So if it's something that, the fans want to see and they think it's great, then I'm all for it.
That's Doug Marrone talking once again with the media via Zoom. Everybody doing business in different ways. I'll have a story on the TV side of things coming up later this week. Probably may even save it for early next week on just how the Jags are operating, like many people. But how do you get along in this time when draft process is still going on? You can't go work out players. Remember, the Jags worked out Yannick Ngakoue years ago. Todd Wash went up there. They worked out Cam Robinson. They went over to Cam and saw that. They can't do any of that. So one thing Doug Marrone did say today, there'll be less risk-taking, he thinks, in the draft. And could that hurt some guys? Could you see some guys' value go down? Because remember, we're not always keen on everybody's injuries. And so if you start seeing a guy slipping compared to where most people think he might be, red flag in my mind will go up, hey, there's some injury concerns about this guy, and they don't want to take a chance on it in this kind of climate right now with everything going on. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690, joined by Jason Fitz from ESPN right now. First Take, Your Take, 1 to 3 here on ESPN 690, Monday through Friday. And a chopped extraordinaire, as we learned just last week. We've got some more ingredients for you today, but not yet. We start with the NFL. What's happening, man?
Just living the dream as best we can, trying to stay sane and find some escapism in a crazy time. Right now it's about so much more than sports, but God, we still got to find somewhere to get this release,
Absolutely. What do you think about 7 playoff teams, 1 bye for each conference? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. Look, I love it for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a fan, right? And first and foremost, as a fan of the Raiders, it gives me a bigger opportunity to get into the playoffs. I want that. The other side of it is, with only 1 bye, I think you're going to see teams at the end of the year be a lot more focused. We always have the debate on whether or not you're just going to start sitting players. What are you going to do for the best of the best in each conference? Well, you're not going to have as much wiggle room. So that fight for the top overall seed is going to be so significant. I think it makes the end of the year more impactful. That's good for everybody all the way across.
Jason, the one downside, at least to me, with the extended playoff format is the fact that you can get a 7-9 team in now. And to me, I can't co-sign on that, right? I feel like if you lose more games than you win, you shouldn't be allowed to go to the playoffs. Does that bother you as much as it bothers me, or are you just kind of more chill with it?
Well, it bothers me, but I don't know if how often will we get it? That's the real question. So if it happens let's say it happens once every 10 years, where a 7-9 team gets in. So if we're talking about, for that course of, 2 teams a year, 10 years, if I get 19 good out of it and 1 bad, that was worth it to me. But you're right, and I do think there needs to be a real focus on how they seed these playoff teams too, so that you don't end up in a situation where a team with the losing record ends up with a home field game. And that's something that is always out there as a possibility.
Jason Fitz from ESPN with us. First Take, Your Take, 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. on ESPN 690. Hangs out with us on Tuesdays here on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. The schedule release, word is, won't come out until May 9th. Now, they're trying to tell us that was planned anyway. I don't think so. I think this is NFL genius of spreading out their calendar even more. And, by the way, they could have some potential conflicts. So the longer you wait, it makes some sense. Whatever the reasoning, do you think they will have problems putting together the schedule this year? I mean, that's 5-6 weeks down the line. I know we're all living day to day. But there's got to be a lot of concern with the international games and then some of the activity going on in New York and California. Those are hotbeds for the coronavirus right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge issue for them. Plus, keep in mind, too, how many other events have been postponed. And, go back to 2 years ago, I think it was, Ed Sheeran had the highest grossing tour in the world that year. And his tour actually impacted the NFL because he was playing football stadiums. So you have to look across and say, okay, how many people are looking for real estate in a short, compacted amount of time if suddenly tours and everything else that can possibly happen at different stadiums is trying to happen in the fall? So it gets a little more complicated than just, suddenly trying to figure out, okay, what's it all look like? I think part of what you see when you see delays in scheduling, though, is really just how much time can you buy before, you have to make any announcement so that you don't have to make change. And that's, I think you're right. They're spreading it out for eyeballs, but they're also giving themselves the best possible chance to wait and sort of see at least what the situation looks like as we get into May, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. I think you're right. We were talking to Yannick Ngakoue situation. We've talked about it with you in the past. This is going to be more broad with you here. Jadeveon Clowney is still unsigned. Former number 1 pick. pass rusher market is not deep this year, not deep in the draft either. Yet Clowney's still unsigned coming off a 3-sack season. He's been vocal about it to a degree. Jan here in Jacksonville has been vocal about it, took to Twitter again today to basically say, I'm not playing here in Jacksonville. Do you think it's hurting some of these guys to be as vocal as they are, coming off the lessons learned maybe from organizations with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, even Jalen Ramsey here in Jacksonville? Could it be hurting some of those players to be as loud as they have been?
Well, let's couch them two different situations, because what we've seen with Jadeveon Clowney now is that two franchises seem to be willing to let him walk away. Now, that's a big statement to me. So I don't know. When you think about the fact that he's already been traded, and now you think about the fact that there hasn't been a big deal given to him, that tells you that the people that have him in the building every day haven't fallen in love with him twice. So that's a statement. And I don't know if I'm Jadeveon Clowney that I really want to come in and start, ruffling feathers given that statement being made. The other side of it for Yannick Ngakoue, though, is you're talking about somebody that's sort of the opposite situation. Like, that they're doing everything they possibly can to keep him. They're doing everything within their rights as a team to keep him. It's a tough situation for him. So for him, personally, I look at it and say, if he's desperate to get out, the only way he can make that happen is if he holds out, and he's going to have to force that to happen. And even at that, it becomes difficult. So I couch them as two very different situations. I think it's incredibly harmful for Jadeveon to continue talking, but I don't think Yannick's under that same microscope.
Jason, if you're to put yourself in Yannick Ngakoue's shoes, and I've been very adamant about this, right? Because he's always been kind of the status quo kind of guy. He's been very quiet. Even last year for his contract negotiation, he still showed up to OTAs and everything, was being a great teammate. And when they didn't get a deal done, he kind of just went under the radar, and he still played football, So you didn't really hear that much about it. Well, now he's starting to reach out a little more. He's starting to voice his displeasure a little more. In your opinion, if you're Yannick Ngakoue right now, and you obviously went out of Jacksonville, you don't want to be here, does it kind of pay to almost like go out kicking and screaming to try to maybe build a little more buzz around you, get people talking about you a little more, to try to put the Jaguars in a bad light? Or do you come from the philosophy of, just keep your mouth shut and let your agent handle it?
Well, the problem is, if you keep your mouth shut, you're right. Like, there's a part of me that says, yeah, keep your mouth shut and just let everybody else do your speaking for you. Mm-hmm. But then you're really going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait long enough to hold out, and you're going to have to wait quietly long enough to make some sort of an impact that way. By being so vocal, he's at least making it incredibly clear to everybody, especially going up to the draft, because that's really going to be his last opportunity to be moved somewhere, right? That makes sense. So to me, it makes sense to be vocal coming up to the draft so that you are making it clear you don't want to be there, and teams will be aggressive to try and get you. After the draft, once you're sort of in the situation you're in, I'm not sure what good it does to keep talking about it unless you want to be such a cancer that you get out of there. And that doesn't seem to be anything we've ever seen from his personality in the past. So make no mistake about it. Teams are going to try and acquire him. It's just a matter of for what and how much Jacksonville thinks they can get in return.
It's a great point, too, because it doesn't – you said something that's really interesting there. We've discussed this a lot. Yannick Ngakoue's been a big storyline on our show for now 8 months. But – the fact that he's not that guy. Like, see, Jalen Ramsey can pull that stuff because he's kind of that guy. Like, he doesn't have to go far to be that guy.
Yeah.
For Jan, it's a lot harder. It's just hard. I don't think this is easy for him to play that card.
Oh, absolutely not, Brent. But you have to ask the question: where has Jan being Jan got him so far?
I get it.
It's got him stuck in Jacksonville. Yeah, absolutely. It's got him stuck in Jacksonville, wanting out. Where to get Jalen Ramsey? It got him in LA where he wanted to go. So.
You just got to be willing to go there, man.
You have to be able to go there.
Willing to go there, and,
yes,
and that's not part of his makeup. It doesn't seem like it is. All right, hey, we gave you some ingredients. I think you have some fun things. By the way, Ted Allen jumped in on the Twitter yesterday with us.
He did.
There we go. I think
I missed that. My God.
Well, we just dropped your name. I know you're all over the place on Twitter, so I think he jumped on it. But we basically said, hey, that chop segment went so well last week, and we got to try it again. We need more ingredients.
Yes.
Okay, well, so Jason, here's the thing. Actually, I had a different thing planned for you today. So we actually have 2 segments with your name on them. It could be amateur hour, but I think we'll be pretty entertaining at the same time. So let's get it, man.
Absolutely.
So
what do you got? I don't even know what's coming here.
I know. So it's the chop thing. Let's get the chop thing first. All right. So same rules as last time, Jason. I'm going to give you a couple of ingredients, and off the spot of your head, you got to give me the dish of all dishes here. And this is going to be it's going to be another entree portion, another dinner portion. All right, ready?
Okay.
We got Polish sausages, collard greens, rhubarb, and a Panera bread bowl filled with broccoli cheddar soup.
Oh my God!
Really spared no expense for this one. Oh yeah,
Did you say
are
rhubarb?
crushing me.
Rhubarb, man.
And you said Polish sausage, which could I call kielbasa? Is that the same thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
You might get stabbed in Wisconsin if you say that, but okay.
I love kielbasa. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Man, this is tough because you can't just repurpose anything.
You better
All right, so I
believe
got the bread bowl. I got the bread bowl that was what? The potato soup in the bread bowl? Is that what you said?
Nope, it's actually broccoli and cheddar soup from Panera.
Broccoli and cheddar soup
sponsoring the show this time.
from the bread bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is easy. For that portion of it, it's easy. I'm going to rip the bread bowl apart, and I'm going to take the broccoli and cheddar soup. I'm going to bread it, and I'm going to make like a little sort of like a little what are they? It'll come to me in a second. Hold on. So I'm going to use a roux with that, and I'm going to break it, and I'm going to make a croquette out of that. That's what I was looking for. So I got a little croquette with that. I'll put the rhubarb and the collard greens in it. So it's like a little. You make a roux, and you put some cheese in it, and you can put all the veggies in it and the meat in it, and you bread it, and it gets fried twice a couple times. So it's good. Make a croquette with that.
Okay.
But the sausage, I'm sort of stuck on. So what I might do with the sausage is rip that apart and make like a sausage gravy, and I'll put the gravy around the croquette. There we go. I got a croquette with sausage gravy.
I'm not mad at
Come
that.
on
Mouth is watering. Spoiler alert, mouth is watering.
That's impressive. I mean, looking back at last week, I was impressed, but that was easier than this one.
But he's not done yet. Where does the rhubarb come in, though? Big question.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, that the rhubarb I'm a little stuck on.
Tangy.
Yeah, no, the rhubarb is, I got to work it into the gravy somehow.
Could you put it in the gravy or the croquette, couldn't you?
I mean, yeah, I could put it in the croquette. Like I could, I just got to make sure enough of the flavor comes out. And croquettes are super rich, actually, because they're like a roux with a bunch of cheese. So, and they're very buttery. So, you know what? The rhubarb goes in the croquette. There we go.
I like that. It's going
rhubarb
to be
goes in.
a little
I'm
sweetness, a
putting
little tartness.
Yeah, everything but the sausage goes into the croquette. It gets breaded up. It gets fried into the little ball. And then the sausage gravy goes around it.
I'm sold, man.
Nice work.
Ted Allen, your first round pick for Chopped is right here.
I mean, listen, he wants to be a celebrity judge.
Yeah.
This is his resume tape.
No, it is.
And he's doing a fantastic job.
And I'm not going to lie, I made it extremely difficult this week. You know what I'm saying? Like last week he crushed it. I'm like, okay, let's throw some rhubarb in the mix. Let's throw something else in the mix. But he did a great job.
Nice
Fantastic.
work. You got a second game for him?
Well, this is supposed to be the original game. I didn't know we're doing Chopped back-to-back weeks.
He's so good on Chopped that I'm doing it every week. I don't care if he wants to or not.
All right, Jason. So for the second segment that I thought of, this was going to be the original segment, and we had the Chopped segment as well. It is what it is, man. ESPN 690, we're just trying to make it. That's our slogan. So, Kuz, do you have the song ready? So, Jason, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a song, and I want you to tell me, number one, have you heard it before, which should be a yes, and number two, do you know who sings it? And then we're going to go on from there. So, Kuz, play the song quick. Okay. Do you know that song?
Yes.
Okay, do you know who sings it?
Is it Jonas Brothers?
No, Jason, no. It's Fits in the Tantrums.
Oh my God, man! Now that's embarrassing. Like Fits in the Tantrums. Yeah.
So here we are. This is the segment that I came up with a while ago. We're finally going to use it today. We're going to have a thing called Fits and the Tantrum, and basically, for 1 minute, I want you to go on a rant about anything. Doesn't have to be about sports. One rant about anything for a minute straight, and when the minute's up, we have to stop you. But you can literally rant about whatever you want, man. This is a safe space. We're here for you. Get something off your chest if you want to. Let's hear it.
You got the drop button ready, Kuz? Okay, good.
All right, here we go. You ready for this? I didn't know I was going to do a rant, but I got 1 minute of this easy.
All right.
Not a lot of people are flying right now, but this is an important time while you're not flying to understand your flying etiquette. Flying etiquette is very simple. Number one, if you think you can cram it into the overhead and you have to sit on it, you can't. So don't. You're going to hold all of the rest of us up when you do. Number two, only take up the amount of space that you should be taking up. At the end of the day, your convenience shouldn't be my inconvenience when we're all flying together. So if you pack more reasonably, you can get onto the flight in a reasonable amount of time. More importantly, you can get off the flight in a reasonable amount of time. It should not take any time at all to get off a dang airplane. All you got to do is stand up, take the bag that easily fit under your seat, put it over your shoulder, and then reach up to the overhead and take the bag that easily fit in your slot in the overhead and wait your dang turn. If you're not the next row, don't stand up. Stand up when it is your turn, when it is your time, and we can all file out in an easy manner. Why is it we ask elementary school kids to go to recess? Okay, that's it.
Oh, the recess part was good.
Dang, man.
Hey, we just made that into a 60-second spot when you do buckle your seatbelt and sit down now.
Yeah.
Like, that should go on every flight.
And that was your fits.
There you go.
That was your fits in the tantrum. By the way, I don't want to be a sports radio guy anymore because I saw what Jason just did. Dude, I can't do that. That was insane, man. Nicely done.
Hey,
well, there we go.
Top of the head? Come on.
I don't know. Hey, listen, if Austin can't make it here, maybe he can make it as your producer on First Take, Your Take, because that should maybe be a segment for you every show, every day.
I'm stealing that. There we go. Fits in the tantrum. I'm stealing it. There we go.
You're welcome. Use it.
All right. Hey, man, thanks for playing along and jumping in. Hope everybody's well where you are, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, Jason Fitz from ESPN. I'll tell you what, he's going to stop calling in.
Just putting him through the ringer, putting him through the gauntlet, man.
I tell you, he's fun, man. He's versatile, isn't he? From chop to tantrum.
Yeah, that was insane, man. Like, we put him through the gauntlet, and I think he passed with flying colors, man. And like I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a radio guy anymore. If I have to do that with that much professionalism, I think it's strip club DJ time, Brett. Let's just say that, man. Let's just say that.
What's our quote on mentioning strip club DJ? We've done it certainly
we
a lot
aren't even
in the last
close,
week.
man. We're not even close yet. Don't worry about it. Hey, it could be a sponsorship one day. We never know.
Hey.
You do the show
Male
live
audience.
from there.
We do have a male audience.
I'm not saying doing a show from there, but
I even tell you
I
the
can do a
story.
spot.
I'll tell you my.
What? You're a male stripper? What are you getting at here? Tell me what story.
So I would tell the greatest stand-up I've ever done. I don't think I've ever shared this story.
Never shared this story. Hit me with it.
Greatest stand-up I've ever done in TV land is I want to say we're at the Sugar Bowl.
Okay.
Which would be New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been for the Gators in 2009. I think that's why we were there. It could have been some other reason, but I'm pretty sure that's why we were there. And so we have, we have live shots or stand-ups, in TV where, you get the background. Well, what I was trying to do, if you go on Bourbon Street's just packed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talking about like between Christmas and New Year's, and it's just packed. And so I wanted to kind of get an up-top angle to be able to see everybody on the street.
Sure.
And hopefully nothing flying in the background. Mm-hmm. and also the other reason why you want to be up top in that situation is because you don't want all these drunk people getting in your live shot and doing whatever with a $40,000 camera, right?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of those on YouTube.
So anyway, we ask a couple of storefronts, like, hey, can we go up onto the balcony? Or no. We ask another one, and they said, no, not here, but you can do it here. So they must have owned like the other place.
Okay.
Well, so they take us, like we have no idea at the time, but they take us in down a couple of camera crew
with camera equipment,
two of us,
gear and everything,
and well,
I know
we
this
head
is going.
right into a gentleman's club, and we're gentleman's club up the stairs, back up the stairs, like. It was a slow walk.
Girls Gone Wild, Brett Marno style. You better believe it, man.
And we end up out on their balcony.
Dang.
Now, you would have no idea in TV land that we're at a strip club.
Sure.
Doing our live shot.
Be honest, when you said, and we're live, did you say where you're live from? Or no.
We're on Bourbon Street.
Oh, Bourbon Street. Okay. Dang.
But yeah, greatest stand-up ever.
Yeah.
Right? Greatest stand-up spot ever. So it was just so, like, we always joke about that. Jason Fryman is a guy that was our photographer at the time, and he's now, I think, in the Tampa area.
Yeah.
And, or Sarasota area, maybe it is. And we always joke, we always kind of, every time we see each other, reminisce, remember that's the greatest stand-up spot you'll ever have.
Without a doubt, man. Doesn't get much better than that.
But it was like, you can't really say it on TV. You
That's
don't want to really
ideal.
tell you where you're at. But so it can happen, is my point, Coos.
Well, I'm sure you probably turned some heads, too, walking through the like, you had to.
Yeah, I don't remember remember that part being like, what are they doing with a camera in here? Like, I thought they would be. Like, in hindsight, you're kind of like, we're walking through there with a tripod, a camera, and stuff like.
Yeah.
And nobody was really raising an eyebrow at it.
Different times back then.
Of course,
different times.
Might not have been looking at the eyes. Just saying.
Yeah. The steps. You want to make sure you didn't trip.
I would have dropped my camera for sure.
When we come back, we'll talk some more football. We also continue to celebrate Jacksonville Icemen Day here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
I'm sweating in this sweater right now.
I know, but it's nice, isn't it?
It's nice.
It's a
cozy.
good-looking sweater. This is one of my favorites.
I'm not mad at it, man.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it whatsoever.
We got the jerseys on. Check out the video feeds. You can see it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And the head coach of the Icemen, Jason Christie, joins us coming up next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A tornado watch is in effect for Baker County until 9 o'clock this evening. A gusty band of showers and a few thunderstorms this evening, then clearing skies later and turning cooler, dropping into the 50s. And a nice Wednesday, it'll become mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the low to mid-70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jack's Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
These can be unsettling times, but CGC Water Treatment wants you to know that they are there for you and your family. CGC Water Treatment has 50% savings for you. Purchase a Premier Softener and save 50% off a K5, Connecticut's premier reverse osmosis system. When the shelves at the stores are empty, it's a great feeling to have purified water right at home. Call 904-694-2242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida. But big and small, businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open to serve you. Maggiano's, AA Bottled Gas, Bob Salo Plumbing, Mike's Boiled Peanut Wagon, Water Rocket Pressure Washing, Robbins Furniture. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we'll all get through this.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
Hey, boss, have you heard about Safe Touch? They're now offering a free health and wellness package with every Safe Touch system.
Health and wellness package? Actually, that sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, well, not for us crooks. You know the Safe Touch two-way communicator?
Of course I know the Safe Touch two-way communicator.
Yeah, so we already know that it's the best deterrent against, crooks like us, but it can also be like a 911 dispatcher for other emergencies.
Like medical emergencies?
Yeah, there's the two-way communicator, the emergency buttons, the smartphone app. It's all just extra peace of mind for Safe Touch customers.
Great. As if people need another reason to get Safe Touch.
Well, the good news is it's not going to change our Crooks R Us motto,
Stay away from Safe Touch houses. Some things never change.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur? Then we invite you to sign up for the Achieve Your Business Dream workshop the SCORE offers in conjunction with the Jacks Chamber. It will be held again in February, May, August, and October. Held over 4 consecutive weeks, this workshop provides valuable information on a range of topics. If you want to learn more about any of the workshop SCORE offers, then go to the Take a Workshop tab at jacksonville.score.org.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you've been spending a lot more time at home than usual. Now that the Easter holiday is upon me, I want to get my home as clean and healthy as possible. That's why I'm calling my friends at Zero Res. They are experts at cleaning all the living surfaces in my home. With their patented technology, they can deep clean my carpets, tile, upholstery, area rugs, and even my countertops. Once clean, they can disinfect my hard surfaces to kill any remaining germs or viruses. I had Zero Res out to my house, and wow. Now is the time to call Zero Res. They have a whole house special running for 25% off any and everything you have cleaned. Wow, that's 25% off carpet, tile, upholstery, area rugs, countertops, everything. Give Zero Res a call today at 287-5727. That's 287-5727. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Men, are the effects of hypertension, diabetes, or prostate cancer preventing you from having a satisfying love life? In just one visit, the doctors at Prime Men's Medical Center can help you overcome ED or PE to regain your confidence and have you last longer in the bedroom. Name brand pills don't work for many men and can have serious side effects. The highly skilled physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center provide custom blended medications that are safe, effective, and work immediately, regardless of your medical history or age. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your consultation is free. So, if you have problems in the bedroom, call now for a private consultation. One call, one visit, one simple solution to regain your love life. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, I actually think that there's something that it's been beneficial. I'm actually getting more players watched. You kind of isolate. And when you are, you can really just go. Whereas, when you're the head coach, you've got to be around the training room, you got to be around the equipment room, you got to walk around to the other part of the building, just to make sure that people see you. You're asking people what you can do to help them. So, I actually have quite more time now to really focus on, the players and evaluation.
That's Doug Marrone talking to us earlier today, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, about how they're doing business. And some things, that's a good way to look at it, right? You can do some things a little bit better than you might have been able to do. You can be more efficient in certain parts. I think we're all finding that out to some degree. And I did talk to Coach a little bit about that further, and I asked him because it was interesting. Marrone, one of his big tenets of trying to set a culture for this year was communication throughout the building. I think that will be challenged now because he's trying to include the ticket sales and the people who get the meals ready, and not just the football side of things, trying to make it all inclusive and everybody to care every day about whether you win on that Sunday or not. And not to say they didn't, but that was his messaging, communication throughout the entire building. Well, that's going to be a little bit more difficult for the Jaguars and for any operation at the moment. That'll be the one thing, right? The downside is you don't get to see people, interact with people, bump into them in the hallway, that camaraderie, some of that everybody is feeling a bit of that. How much do we need that? Well, that's for the debates after all this ends, maybe, to see how productive we've been. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane and Coos on a Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we're calling today Jacksonville Icemen Day here on ESPN 690. If you're just jumping in with us, we already had Bob Arablo on from the Icemen an hour ago. We'll have Wasey Rabbit, a player for the Icemen, on in about an hour. And joining us right now on the phone is head coach of the Icemen, Jason Christie. What we're trying to do is give some love to the local teams that are kind of, have hit the pause button. And if you think about the Icemen, their season got stopped. Yeah. They were trying to make a playoff run, a playoff push, and with regular season games to go, including 7 at home, that was not able to happen. We're also sharing some cool things about the organization. And one of the best things about this organization, the Icemen, is they have been awesome in attendance slightly under 6,000 per contest. They rank third out of the 26 ECHL teams. On November 14, 2019, which would have been just, a few months back, Icemen set a team attendance record of 12,836 fans. So that will tell you about the fan base of the Jacksonville Icemen. It's been a loyal one. It's been an instant one, and they love their hockey here in Jacksonville. And Jason Christie's been a part of it since day one. How you doing, man? Hope you and the family are good.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that, Brent. Thanks for having me on, and hope you and Austin are doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been a part of this thing since day one. Let's just feed off the energy of the crowd, which is non-existent in all of sports right now, but hopefully existent here on our show, even though we can't hear them. But it's been a cool place, right? You're a king of the ECHL. You've been in this for a long time. How cool is Jacksonville as a market in this league?
Oh, honestly, you know what? It just stems from when we first came here. Bob and those guys done a heck of a job in front office. They're just, putting our stamp on the town here, and us being able to have a product on the ice that, compete every night. And, obviously this year ended, we're on a pretty good run here. I thought we were more makeup playoff team here anyways in the stretch run after we made a couple deals here and there. But our fans, when you talk to other teams, like just the excitement, guys coming in from other teams and, how into it they get and how, much fun they have. It's family entertainment. And at the end of the day, it's awesome to be able to coach in front of.
Coach, I've been echoing, obviously being a coach like you are, like it's one thing where if you go to the playoffs, you lose and you go and talk to your team. It's like, hey guys, we gave it all we had. Unfortunately, we came up a little short. We'll see you guys next season. But with like this whole deal right here, where your season essentially got canceled because of something that you couldn't control. I mean, what are those conversations like with those players in that locker room? I'm sure people were pretty disappointed, obviously.
No, well, and that's the thing. Like we had a pretty good run going here, Austin. Like it was something that it was right there for us to take. We had those 4 games in hand, and there's teams that we were playing with that were against that we're battling for, and we had all those home games left in hand at home. So. Coming down the stretch, we were right there. We had a good pace going, but the number one thing when all this hit, it was just kind of like surreal. Like it was our number one thing was, your family. You want to make sure you protect them, so we wanted to make sure that everybody, was able to get home right away. Like it was honestly a 2-day of just like, holy smokes, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then once young kids, nothing will ever bug them. But once I think they got off the phone with their conference call with the PHPA, I think it really hit home where, hey, they better get home and get isolated.
Coach, in terms of professional sports, like we always talk about, I mean, obviously the NFL is big, the NBA is big, and we've been kind of talking about like which sport would you foresee kind of taking the biggest hit, if you will, from this coronavirus thing. And obviously the NBA right now, and we'll see. I mean, maybe the season will come back on, but I'm a big proponent, a big advocator that I think the fact that playoff hockey is probably the best watching experience you can have in professional sports. And I think the NHL depends on the playoffs so much. Let's just say that, this coronavirus lasts long and all of a sudden the hockey season's canceled in the NHL and the NBA's canceled. But, like, what's going to happen with the NHL? I mean, is that going to be a big detriment or will they kind of recover, do you think? Like, how do you foresee that happening, saying there is no playoff hockey this year?
Well, and that's the thing, there's nothing like playoff, whether it's NBA or baseball or hockey, that drive at the end of the season, all the players take it to a different level, and I think with the NHL, I can just speak to that just because of conversation I had, obviously they want to wait and see here how this thing kind of calms down, if whatever they say, flatten out or whatever, but, I think, the NHL playoffs, I think they're really going to be missed, and, especially with us, like, obviously Andy Kaufman owns us, like, playoffs is a big part, big part, you work all year for that, at the end, but that's where, the fans can have that extra excitement like we saw last year. It just carried over into the following year, I think, with that. So, the NHL, they got obviously a lot to straighten out, and it's, a higher pay grade than I'm, different league, obviously, for that, and they got some ways to go on decisions there for sure.
It's Jacksonville Icemen Day here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Jason Christie, the head coach of the Icemen, with us here on the show. And the winningest coach in ECHL history with 635 regular season victories. You can coach, you can win, But can you teach Schoology, I think is what it's called, right? I mean, how are you handling that at home?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way: I'm not a very good teacher in the school. I will say, hey, we got the policemen and obviously the nurses and doctors on the front line right now, and they're doing a heck of a job. But we got hats off to these teachers, how much they do for us during the year. And obviously our kids started here this week on Monday, and we're already 2 days in here, and it's just kind of like, holy smokes, But again, that's the big. And the tough thing is, Brent, is I got an 18-year-old. He's a senior. Their lacrosse season at Creekside there is kind of taking the hit, and they had a pretty good team there, and then obviously to the graduation and stuff. So it's a home there a little bit, but the number one thing is just people being safe and making sure they're doing the right things so we can kind of clear this up.
Yeah, listen, I want to ask you a little bit more about hockey in a moment, but that hits close to so many folks right there. You just related with a lot of folks that are listening. And, we hear a lot about the seniors in college, whether it's the NCAA tournament that got canceled or the spring sports, and now the NCAA, which we'll talk about a little bit later on the show, came back and said, hey, you'll get that spring year of eligibility back. Well, the Florida High School Athletic Association is also considering some of those options for seniors who might miss that spring. It's very they're just going over some of those things, but they're contemplating extreme measures on that front. I guess from a personal level, Coach, how's your 18-year-old dealing with it? Has it hit him yet that he might not have a lacrosse season? He might not be able to go to prom. I don't know if they'll do something in terms of walking across a stage. I know each to their own on these kind of things, but that's tough, man. I mean, those are cool life experiences that, we're all inconvenienced, and I know there could be worse things, but those are cool life experiences that a lot of kids in the area and across the country could miss out on this year.
No question, Brent. And that's the thing that I'm dealing with. Just being in sports my whole life, and obviously at the pro level here now, you want what's best for your kids, and they know that drive. They've seen it since they were born with me coming home. Obviously the wins and the losses and the ups and downs. And, okay, we got to pack the car up. We're moving here, sort of thing. So, to have them kind of settled here and have this final year for the lacrosse, what I mean? Like I said, they had a good team. They had high expectations last year and obviously this year too. And just to kind of see him, the hardest thing is trying to keep him in. Trying to explain to him. He's been great though, and I think they understand that, where they've been at home here now for 2 weeks, kind of helping around the house, and now they're doing their schoolwork. But, I think it hits them a little bit, Brent, like just the fact that, you train hard, up until the season starts there, and then all of a sudden it shuts off, just like my players, there's no end game in there. And I think right now it just, it's tough to have an 18-year-old and have to go through that and try and, you want what's best for them, I guess.
Absolutely. Last one here with Jason Christie, head coach of the Jacksonville Icemen. We appreciate you taking a few minutes here on Jacksonville Icemen Day on ESPN 690. Does it feel like the offseason for you? I mean, I know there were still games to be played. I know there was hopefully a playoff push, but you weren't that far away from the finish. You got a good amount of games in. Does it kind of feel like you've hit the offseason? And I guess a secondary question to that is, how much do you consider your job to stay in touch with your players right now, keep communicating, see how they're doing, how they're dealing with it? Because it hits differently in different parts of the country, the world, and you've got players from all over.
No, and exactly. That's the thing, like for us, this end, I always go into a funk at the end of the season, and just, I think it's harder on my wife all of a sudden. I just, I'm here every day. It kind of throws her for a little loop too. I'm not around all the time, and all of a sudden I'm home. So, there's obviously growing pains there on that. But, again, for us, the number one thing is just making sure they're safe. They're okay, our players. And, it did hit, obviously really hard, quick and fast. And, so we do keep in contact, but we really don't get going until we find out what's going to happen with the NHL here, Brent, just to kind of see, where we're going to go. We usually don't start signing guys anyways until, end of June there, middle of June and beginning of July. So right now it's just, you're right, just touching base with them and making sure that, the tough thing, they can't even get out and train. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, like, all sports people, it's probably a big shock because none of the gyms are open. The personal trainers aren't doing it. They do a lot of stuff online now with webinars and stuff like that. But, I know myself, just, Heck, I go to a grocery store, I just look for somebody to talk to. You're used to being around somebody every day, you know, so it's a little adjustment.
Absolutely. The Jacksonville Icemen affiliates in the NHL, Winnipeg Jets, and the AHL's Manitoba Moose. I bring that up because I just want you to say Manitoba, Coach.
Manitoba.
Yeah, Manitoba. Love it. Love
Manitoba.
it. Jason Christie, head coach of the Icemen. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be well. Give our best to your family and all your players.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having us, guys. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Thanks,
Jason
Coach.
Christie, head coach of the Icemen, winningest coach in ECHL history, and really a fun guy, obviously, we got to know over the last few years for sure. Kuz, we're keeping it to the top of the hour, right? Yeah, thought so. Definitely. Mock drafts are out as we shift back into football season.
I'm going to lose it, Brent.
And Todd
Here we are.
McShay's latest mock draft, Justin Herbert.
Come on, Todd. Come on.
Now, a little background. You looked something up. You said, all right, because here's the deal, okay? We love mock drafts. Whether you want to say you love mock drafts or not.
Okay.
No, listen, I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about as a populace, okay?
I got you.
Overall, people love mock drafts. That's why more and more people do them. I bet Ty could do a mock draft, and it would get like 5,000 clicks on it. People want to see it. Yeah. They love it. And listen, I understand it. We're in the predictability business at times, and I think people are thirsty for that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of time in between, like the Combine or the Senior Bowl or the end of the season and the draft to fill that void. So I understand it. We're thirsty for it. But a lot of times you have to know how these work. You know, so many of the McShays and the Kuipers of the world, they're asked to do 4 or 5. Some guys are asked to do 10 of them. And so from December to January to February, well, they have all these renditions. And they never really give you the final one that they really think until the last week or the last day right before. Yeah. So they play different scenarios. Why? Because, well, it would be pretty boring if you knew Todd McShay's never changed, right? So that being said, we all know that. We understand that. And I think this is a little bit of that with Herbert. But it's also a fun topic to talk about because it will spin me into a topic of I don't think they should even look at a quarterback in the first 3 or 4 rounds. You did a little research, though. Last year in his 3rd mock draft, he had who?
He had Juwan Taylor in his 3rd, and his final one, he had T.J. Hawkinson.
And by the way, Juwan Taylor was projected as a top 10 pick by many last year.
Correct.
And the Jags did like Juwan Taylor and ended up with him in the 2nd round, which is a great get for them in terms of value. Hawkinson, by all accounts, everything I can tell and hear and have seen and whatever, if the Jags did not land Josh Allen and they didn't fall into that because he was still there and that was a no-brainer pick, they were going with T.J. Hawkinson.
Well, I'm glad they got Josh Allen because I want Noah Fant anyways. So but it all worked out for everybody.
McShay would have been on. You also said, I think you said Haskins to Redskins he nailed, and also Josh Jacobs to Oakland back at 24, which was good. So, listen, he got some right.
He had like the first 3 right. So he was like, we'll say 5 or 6 for 32.
Yeah.
Okay.
The back end is really tough because one domino will change it. Top 10 is a lot easier.
Yeah. This is my problem with mock drafts, though, because like essentially to me, it's like filling out a bracket. Like I can watch you fill out a bracket, and you could probably have maybe one of the 1 seeds going to the finals and everything, going to the Final Four. But like, how much is it really going to come true? And that's the same thing with mock drafts. I get it. It's fun to speculate, and it's fun. And listen, far be it from me to tell Mel Kiper or Tom McShay how to do their jobs because they're obviously the best at it. We see them everywhere, and then their mock drafts are almost worshipped around NFL fans alike. So far be it for me to tell you how to do your job. But I just think that if you have the Jacksonville Jaguars right now written down, all right, and you go to their strengths and you go to their needs. And obviously, when we talk about needs, you talk about the NFL draft. So if you go to their needs right now, the quarterback position, especially in the 1st or 2nd round, it shouldn't even be a mention, Brent. Okay? It shouldn't even be in the running. So the fact that I have to sit here and talk about how someone said Justin Herbert is going to Jacksonville, I'm going to say why. Because what was McShay's explanation to it? Did you see what he...
I did, and his mention was more. They only have Gardner Minshew now. Are they going? And while they're okay with that, but is that enough?
Okay, so I got it right here. So number 9, Justin Herbert. The Jags could go in a couple of directions in this spot, and I originally think it's going to be wide receiver. And while I really won't be surprised to see them take a different route, I just don't see the Jaguars, how they could go in the 2020 season with Gardner Minshew, who I do like, as their only option. Especially with all the picks, draft Herbert, and let the big-armed mobile quarterback compete with Minshew in camp and address other needs later in the draft and just go from there. See, here's my issue with it. And I'm even seeing this in, like, Jaguars message boards now. Just it pops up out of the blue. Or, like, the Jaguars groups that I follow. It's like, we have to bring in Cam Newton for Gardner Minshew. We have to get a first-round quarterback for Gardner Minshew. I'm sorry, Jaguars fans. Have you guys been treated with stellar quarterback play for the past decade? Like, all of a sudden you have something possibly special in Gardner Minshew, and now you don't want to see it through? Because guess what? If you take Justin Herbert in the first round, if you take Tua Tagovailoa in the first round, they're playing. Okay? You're not going to take a first-round quarterback, especially that high in the draft, and then just have him sit behind Gardner Minshew. The first sign of panic from Gardner Minshew, they're coming in. And guess what? They're never going to ever surrender the starting spot.
Well, because you're invested in him, you have to play.
Of course. So that's my issue with it. So if we look at the Jaguars' needs, the quarterback shouldn't even be in the top 5 needs right now in the NFL draft. And, like, I don't understand it. Like, yeah, is Gardner Minshew undersized? Probably. Does he wear jean shorts and have a mustache? Doesn't matter. Does he have arm strength? I think it's pretty adequate. I mean, we saw deep routes to DJ Chark, Chris Conley, D.D. Westbrook last year. Pick your poison. So it drives me absolutely insane when people want to say, well, Gardner Minshew is probably not the guy going forward. They should probably draft the guy in the first round. Well, it doesn't make any sense to me, Brent. And it absolutely drives me up a wall, because here's how 2020 is going to play out. Spoiler alert for anybody that's interested. Next year, either Gardner Minshew wins ball games and he is the quarterback who we thought he was, or Gardner Minshew is not the quarterback that we think he is. He loses ball games, and guess what? You use that draft capital, because you're going to have a bad record anyways, so use some of that draft capital and trade up if you have to, and you take, the guy from Ohio State. You can take Trevor Lawrence or a laundry list of quarterbacks next year. Why you would take a quarterback this year in the first round is beyond me.
It's interesting, okay? And I like your explanation there. I'm a big fan. I think the 2020 season is all about finding out what you have in Gardner Minshew. So I'm not going to disagree with you. But I also don't want to be hypocritical in saying it's the most important position in sports. It's one you have failed on in the past. And so when we brought up Tua, if for some reason he were to slip and you have him highly rated on your board, and who knows if they have Herbert rated high on their board or not, but if you had a guy highly rated on the board and he was there for you to take and you like him and it's the quarterback spot, I'm now of the opinion that you can't have enough of it. I'll deal with it, okay? So I can't sit here and say unequivocally I wouldn't pick Tua if he slipped to me at 9. I just can't say that.
Why, though? Then guess what, Brent? If you pick Tua in the first round, that's your starting quarterback going forward. And all of a sudden, Gardner Minshew, it doesn't matter what he can do. He's not your quarterback.
I'm just telling you, I'd be hypocritical if I said I'd eliminate him from the board because I have a guy in Gardner Minshew that I'm trying to figure out. And by the way, I'm in that arena. Like, I'm of that thought. I want to figure out what Gardner Minshew is in 2020. I just have to also balance that with the idea of saying, okay, well, you're the one that says pick him every 2 years. Find a quarterback. I don't care about the quarterback feelings. Like, that's the way I feel about the position. You just find your damn guy, and I don't care how you do it. So, but here's the other part of it. Here's why it won't happen this year. And this is why I wouldn't allow it to happen, and this has nothing to do with Dave Caldwell or Doug Marrone. It has to do with Shad Khan. If I'm Shad Khan, again, I'm not saying this publicly, but my eyes are on 2021. I've reset my cap space. I've got a bunch of draft picks. I've gone younger. I have more draft picks next year. This year, I'm all about the bandana and trying to figure out if I've got the guy. But if it doesn't work out in 2020 for this group, I've got a new GM coming in and a new head coach coming in. I don't want to stick those people with the quarterback that these guys drafted in the first 2 rounds. They're going to want to bring their own guy in. They're going to have their own evaluations. So why do I want to muddy that up with my eyes on 2021? It does 2 things wrong. It puts potentially this job not as appealing to some because they might not like the quarterbacks we have. And it also might not allow us to see what we do have in Gardner Minshew. So I would say off the table with a young quarterback in the draft in 2020 if I'm Shad Khan. I'm actually saying that in my draft room. I don't care if Tua's on the board.
Slamming the table, I like it.
Because I think you muddy up your future by doing that.
Yes.
You put it in a bad you're just creating more mess in this instance, in this situation.
And let's be honest, say you draft Tua this year. Okay, in a perfect world, you get Tua Tagovailoa. And he plays maybe 8 or 9 games. You guys win 2-3 games that season. Well, all of a sudden, what we got? Trevor Lawrence here, just ripe for the picking. Are you going to take Trevor Lawrence now with Tua Tagovailoa and Gardner Minshew?
I would say yes.
But you got to stop living in a fantasy world, dude.
Take as many quarterbacks as you need,
Brent.
right?
Only one of them can play
this year.
Only one of them can play. Don't forget that.
Yeah, well, none of them have played very well here in Jacksonville for a long time, or well
Minshew
enough.
hasn't done bad.
Well, we just haven't seen enough just yet. We'll be back, ESPN 690, more of this conversation, plus more football and Jacksonville Icemen talk on Jacksonville Icemen Day.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I don't think that people would go from CBS to ESPN to watch a game just because of Tony Romo. You know what would improve Monday Night Football's ratings is if we had a flex package that allowed us to put the best football games on there, and it wouldn't matter if you had 2 camels sitting in the booth.
Did the camels interrupt Jim Nantz? Because that's one of the great qualities of Tony Romo.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
At times like this, it's easy to realize just how much we take some things for granted. The mechanic at your local car dealership, the carpenter, electrician, or plumber that takes care of your house, or the receptionist who checks you in at the dentist, urgent care, or vet. Right now, lots of small businesses in our area are doing what they can, just like you, to hang in there. Some are working to serve their clients in creative new ways, while working on keeping their employees and customers safe. And some will even close their doors for the time being, out of concern for the greater good. Do your neighbors and local business community this favor. Log on, connect with your favorite stores and providers online. Give them a shout on Facebook or Instagram and show your support. And when we get back to normal, they'll be happy to serve you and show you that you have never been taken for granted. This message brought to you by Cox Media Group and your friends at the Florida Theater, Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, and Garber Auto Mall.
They say it should be impossible for bumblebees to fly because their wings are too small for their bodies. But bumblebees don't care. They just fly. Bright Expectations is dedicated to helping our Florida residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they and their families need to break barriers and achieve their dreams. Visit www.brightexpectations.com to start your journey today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Every day, new information comes out about the coronavirus. At Action News Jax, we want you to know that we are on top of every new development. And every day, we're talking to experts, uncovering new information, and sharing what we're learning with you.
I'm Action News Jax anchor Tanika Hughes. ActionNewsJax.com is filled with valuable information on the impacts to Florida and Georgia. Stay calm, stay with us, and stay informed.
Action News Jax is local coverage you can count on.
J. David Tax Law wants you to know that they are here to help individuals and businesses with tax debt issues during the coronavirus pandemic. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Tax problems can be extremely stressful, especially now. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. These programs expire on July 15th, so don't wait. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. With a $1 trillion economic stimulus package on the way, the IRS will be collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777 or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida. But big and small, businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open to serve you.
Safe Touch Security, Arlington Toyota, Wakeoffs AC, Ortho Edge, Forever Vets, Jack C. Wilson Roofing.
If you're open for business, let us know here at CMG by calling 245-8732. Together, we'll get through this.
Hey, boss, check out this headline. Safe Touch Security. Your health and safety are all we do.
Safe Touch again? Is that all you ever talk about?
Boss, your mom still has a Safe Touch security system, right?
That is correct. Don't make any comments.
No, I can't blame you. Having a Safe Touch system is like having a halo of protection surrounding her.
Exactly. For instance, let's say, God forbid, that she needed the fire department.
Not to worry, Safe Touch can respond.
Or let's say she stubbed her toe, the mother of all toe stubs, and she couldn't get to the phone.
Safe Touch can contact emergency toe fixes.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad Safe Touch is out there.
Boss!
I know, but that doesn't mean we don't stick to the Crooks of Us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Trade Pros. Ferguson is committed to making business with us the easiest part of your day. Ferguson.com is designed to help run your business from the office to the job site by making your day-to-day activities easier with 24/7 account access, unmatched online inventory, and on-the-go account management. And with our Pro Plus customer loyalty program, you can earn points with every online purchase, redeemable for merchandise, event tickets, trips, and more. Sign up today at Ferguson.com.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
We're always trying to find more weapons, whether it be on the outside, whether it be in the backfield, whether it be at the tight end position, whether it's someone that's going to push the offensive line. Obviously obviously all the starters are going back there, and our starting running backs coming back. But where do we plug in these players? Obviously, we feel good about the receivers we have. Obviously, we feel good about our running backs situation. Hey, who's someone that's going to come in that's different? It's one of those things that you never have enough. It's like chocolate chip cookies. There's never enough in the house for me.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. You know what's not perfect is Kuz said, that's not chocolate chip cookies, Coach.
Gross.
It's oatmeal raisin. Like
gross.
Listen.
So gross.
Oatmeal raisin, it's like if that's the last one left.
So gross.
And you really want something, then you go get it. You're like, all right, I'll have it.
See,
but it ain't the first choice, man.
No, man.
First choice.
Dude, it's an undrafted free agent at best.
Very true.
All right.
The oatmeal
great
raisin is like the cleanup hitter of cookies.
Shame on you, first of all. Number two, absolutely not. I'm not going to stand for it, Brent. I'm not going to stand for it in our studio. Kuz, here's my issue with oatmeal raisin.
Okay.
It's a cookie.
Yeah.
So it's good, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the purpose of the oatmeal raisin cookie was to come across like, oh, it's got oatmeal and it's got raisins. It's actually pretty healthy for
It's
you.
relatively healthier,
You throw a
yeah.
little cinnamon in there, you
No.
know, it's anti-inflammatory. No, it's still a cookie at the end of the day. So don't try to market yourself as a healthy cookie when you know damn well you're just as bad as chocolate chip cookies.
Here's
or
the
peanut
problem:
butter
is
cookies.
I'm not a big fan of chocolate really, and I like
I'm not either though.
and I like
but-
raisins a lot. So
listen.
Hey, who comes out and says I like raisins?
Dude,
I know.
they're raisins.
Listen,
They're
I'm
good.
a weird guy because I don't like chocolate that much, but I do like chocolate chip cookies.
Sure, exactly.
Chocolate chip
You're
cookies
human.
are fine, but if I have an option, I'm going to go with something I like more.
Nobody says that. Nobody says
I'm
they'll go
doing
with
that.
raisins over chocolate chips.
Tell you what,
Not even the guy that doesn't like chocolate.
I've been watching a lot of Westworld lately, and that was the most robotic comment I've ever heard, Coos. I don't know if you're even human anymore, man.
Are you like?
I don't know if you're human.
Here's my girlfriend and I had this debate too because we were making trail mix because we're bored and we need snacks in the house.
Yeah.
She doesn't make trail mix with raisins. I was like, well, then it's not trail mix. Like raisins are the best part of trail mix, and they're like, she was like, no.
Raisins are good in trail mix because it's a little, sweetness. I get
the
that.
salt, yeah.
But, man.
No, oatmeal raisins.
Do you like raisin bran?
You know what's good?
Yeah.
Raisins.
I like raisin bran.
Raisin bran's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not hardcore raisin guy, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not hardcore.
I think my mom used to put raisins in my banana bread when I was younger.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
I think so.
Banana bread, by the way, is outstanding.
Oh, I can't. I'll eat a whole thing in one
Banana
night.
bread is
I'm
now
probably gonna
that.
I'm probably gonna make some now.
Come on.
Now banana bread over chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dude, I'm not going to. Oh, Brent, mouth
Loaf
watering.
versus the
But
package.
by the way, banana bread, I mean, when I say I cake it in butter, I cake it in butter. It's like a whole stick of butter.
It's more butter bread than.
I make butter banana bread sandwiches. I take 2 sticks of butter, and I put banana bread between them, and I just go to town, man. So good.
Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos back here. We are talking chopped in 1 hour and pantry food in another, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and a little breaking news, too, by the way. The trade is official.
Yeah.
Nick Foles is heading to Chicago.
I was just going to tell you that, yeah. The Nick Foles has been traded.
Okay.
This just in.
Yeah.
Nick Foles has been traded.
Yep.
Oh man.
From the Jags to Chicago, not from Chicago to somewhere else.
Yeah.
What are the Jags
It's
gonna
so-
do now?
It's so funny how what a wild world we live in. That the reports come out. What would that be? Was that last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago?
2 Wednesdays ago.
The reports came out 2 weeks ago.
That's when I was back home in Wisconsin.
Like it was a done deal 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody acknowledged it was a done deal, but the team can't officially call it until today. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that is bizarro, but it's I feel bad for the Jags PR guys. They have to issue the statement and issue the release because you have to issue a release on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's good business. But, what do you think the reactions are going to be like? Hey, we know. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
It is official, the 4th round pick. We appreciate Nick's contributions to our organization over the past year. Wish him and his family the best in Chicago. That was the statement from Dave Caldwell, Jacksonville Jaguars general manager. This just in, Florida State Athletics moves to digital ticketing for the 2020 football season, assuming there is one. So most teams are going that way. Most industries going that way. So just heads up on that if you're a Florida State football fan, and be ready in the fall. Digital ticketing in the fall. We were just talking prior. Doug Marrone just talked about actually weapons. I thought he also brought up something interesting, and it was like a veteran QB with Foles being now officially traded. Do you need a veteran in the room? We're going to get to 10 questions in a moment, but do you need somebody like that? Now, listen, outside looking in, guy that's never been in a QB room, me, all right.
Me?
Listen, yeah, but you've been in a building, so you could speak to maybe the importance of it. I don't know if a QB feels like he's left on an island if he's going into his second year and you got Josh Dobbs, who's been around it a little bit but hasn't played very much in a regular season. Does that matter? See, there are so many things that I say, does that matter, that the way people do business in the NFL? Just because they do it that way and they've done it for 30 years doesn't mean it's the right way to always do it and that it really matters that much. I think some people believe it. We talked about it yesterday, from sleeping in cots to whatever. I think the fact that the Jaguars have Jay Gruden and the fact that they have Ben McAdoo, two experienced coaches in that room around their offense, is very helpful to Gardner Minshew. I think Josh Dobbs has experience hanging around with Nick Foles for the last year, but also Ben Roethlisberger prior to that. I think that's valuable experience if Dobbs, who I believe is this guy, shares it the right way with Gardner Minshew. I think Gardner Minshew drew a lot of things in a positive way from Nick Foles last year. Again, guys don't get credit for that stuff, but it's much like how much did Patrick Mahomes benefit from having Alex Smith around in that rookie season? I think Patrick Mahomes, for as long as he plays and beyond, will say that was very valuable. I learned some unbelievable things. Well, I think Gardner Minshew, depending on how his career works out, but say he's a starting quarterback for the next 10 years, I think he'll always lean on Nick Foles in that rookie season and the way he was treated and what he learned from Nick to be a big jumping off point to helping him make the transition to the NFL. What I don't know is if does he need another veteran around? Case Keenum just got signed. Baker Mayfield's now going into year 3? And Case Keenum was signed to a $6 million a year contract to help out Baker Mayfield in the room. So how much stock do you put in it? That these guys need that help. They benefit from that help. And just to be to share with you, Doug Marrone said today and when he was meeting with the media, he said as a player, when he taught a position, he thought he fell back to what he learned from fellow teammates over the years as a player, whether it was in college or the NFL. And that's what he drew back on more so than even the coaches that were helping him. But the coaches here, at least for now, unless the Jags sign a veteran quarterback, are going to be filling that void in Jay Gruden and Ben McAdoo.
I've been pretty adamant about where I stand in terms of what the backup quarterback position looks like for the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. Okay, and when we ask ourselves is what can we do to give all the tools that Gardner Minshew needs to succeed? Because, right, we talk about it all the time. This is Gardner Minshew's big addition for 2020. This is literally going to put in in my opinion, your franchise for the next decade or not, where do you have your guy, do you have your franchise quarterback in Gardner Minshew or not? You will find out next year. So, with that being said, you want to do everything in your power, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, to make sure that Gardner Minshew has a fair shot, has all the tools that he needs to try to go out there and succeed. And if you give him all the tools and he doesn't, well, then the writing's on the wall and you probably draft another quarterback next year. Simple as that. In terms of bringing a backup quarterback in, obviously Andy Dalton, to me, is the guy, okay? Because, yes, keep in mind, Patrick Mahomes, he did have Alex Smith. And Andy Reid will be the first guy to tell you that Alex Smith was nothing short of magnificent in how he handled, Patrick Mahomes. Because let's be honest, being a starting quarterback in the NFL, and all of a sudden they draft, another guy in the first round to take your spot, that's not an easy pill to swallow, right? But for the most part, you always see these quarterbacks act with class. You saw with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson. You've heard the same thing. So to me, it is important to have that veteran backup, especially your first year. But what do I always say? You make your biggest strides in the NFL, regardless of position, from your rookie year to your second year. Now, keep in mind, Alex Smith left Kansas City, but guess what? They had Chad Henne in the back as well, right? And now Chad Henne's been around for a while. True. Very smart dude, and a guy you can obviously bounce the questions off.
And ended up with Matt Moore in there as well.
Exactly. And then who does Lamar Jackson have in Baltimore? I was going to look that up.
RG3? They had RG3, but somebody else.
Well, they had Trace McSorley, too. But he was
okay,
a rookie.
RG3
So you had RG3. Once again, a guy who's been around for a while, obviously. A guy who's kind of that dual-threat quarterback, when dual-threat quarterbacks were the big rage and everything. So you have another bet there. The problem that I see right now with Gardner Minshew, it's the fact that, yes, you have Joshua Dobbs, who's going to be an astronaut one day. Okay, and he's going to be. What are we going to call him again? Astro. He said,
Astro.
That's going to be his call sign.
That's right. You gave him the title.
Yes. So he's going to be an astronaut. So you have to have some smarts to be an astronaut, obviously. And I think when it comes in terms of football, I think the guy's got it as well. I think he understands the X's and O's perfectly. But we got to remember here, Brent.
Both high IQ guys.
Very high IQ guys.
Dobbs and Minshew.
Same thing with Minshew as well. But we got to remember, the situation that Minshew finds himself in right now and Dobbs also finds himself in is the fact that they have to learn a new offense. That's new terminology. It's new routes. It's a different way of approaching things. So while for a backup quarterback, you want a guy that you can ask the questions, well, Dobbs has to know what's going on as well, right? Because he's new to this offense as well. That's why Andy Dalton, to me, is so crucial, Brent. because Andy Dalton is a guy who has played under Gruden. He gets the offense. He's an experienced quarterback, and I think he can help cultivate and mold Gardner Minshew. And keep in mind, this is a situation where Dalton's coming in where he wants to be the starting quarterback, and you have this guy in Minshew. No, Dalton understands what's up, man. Okay? Like, if he doesn't understand what's up, then he's delusional. Right now, Andy Dalton is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Okay? The writing's on the wall. They're bringing in Joe Burrow. You're not a starting quarterback anymore. Simple. Now, maybe you get a shot down the road as a backup and you can, prove your time to shine. But right now, Andy Dalton, not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He can stay in Cincinnati if he wants to, and that wouldn't be a bad move on his part. But I just think having played in Gruden's offense, knowing the terminology, being able to help Gardner Minshew, why wouldn't you try to coax Dalton away from Cincinnati and bring him to Jacksonville?
Yeah, interesting. How about Andy Dalton, the number 2 pick this year, the second-round pick this year, first-round pick next year for Yannick Ngakoue?
Say it again. Sorry.
Second-round pick this year.
Okay.
First-round pick next year.
Yeah.
And Andy Dalton thrown in.
Done.
For Jan.
Done. And keep in mind, Andy Dalton's great and everything, but you're essentially getting a first-round pick and a second-round pick for Yannick Ngakoue. Yes, please.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that. I think we'd have
stop
to.
Stop teasing me.
Well, I'm just trying to make something up. They don't have a bevy of picks. Bevy's a good word, by the way.
Tap yourself on the back a little harder.
Yeah, that hasn't come up very often in 15 months of this show and radio for the last 7 years, but Bevy's a good one.
Yeah.
They only have 1 pick per round. So what you're saying, if you're like the Bengals, could you say, hey, we want to be better quickly. We've got a 25-year-old guy and a defensive end. We give away our 33rd pick. I mean, we're not going to get a better player than Yannick Ngakoue with number 33 overall. I don't think they'd give up next year's first because I think they want to build around Joe Burrow. And what if they only win 4 or 5 games this year? They're going to have a pretty high pick. So maybe it's a second-round pick, and Andy Dalton. Again, Dalton, by the way, the Jags could get from Cincinnati for a bucket of sunflower seeds, man.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not going to cost much. So I don't know if they do something like that, but be interesting.
Well,
Cincinnati would be an interesting dance partner. That's my point. You
figure
figure out the trade. I don't know.
Sure.
I told you a million times, I'm not good at the trade stuff. I don't know what the value should be.
Yeah.
But that's essentially a first-round pick, to your point.
Yeah.
That would put the Jags at 4 picks in the top 42. That's pretty nice this year. And then even with something pretty high next year, I wouldn't take less than a second next year. I'd try to get there first. And maybe you got to give something else in return. Maybe you give one of your 4th-round picks away. I don't know what it would be, but I'd be thinking that way. And why not? A team like Cincinnati who's trying to rebuild it. Jan's a nice building block.
Well, and assuming that Gardner Minshew is indeed the guy next year, which I think we both agree on, we don't see him taking a first-round quarterback this year.
This season.
This year. So then let me ask you this. Between Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, who's another big name obviously being thrown around, and then Andy Dalton, which guy actually helps out Gardner Minshew the most?
No, listen, you've nailed it on the Dalton front.
So then what are we doing? Like, are we trying to give Gardner Minshew all the tools to succeed? Or are we trying to pick and choose, like, all right, we'll give you Tyler Eifert here. You got Dobbs. I'm nothing against Dobbs either. I'm just saying I think Dalton would be an upgrade to help Gardner Minshew. So then why wouldn't you get Andy Dalton to help out Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, listen, maybe they've tried. Maybe it's just a matter of compensation. Maybe I don't. Is there that much of a rush on it? What's the market on Andy Dalton right now?
Can't be that high.
So why not? Why don't the Jags wade through this period? Do they end up trading to Fournette? Do they get something for Jan? Do they have now 15 picks instead of 14 picks? How does that change what you would give up for Dalton? All those things are in play. I just don't know if it's an immediate rush to go get Andy Dalton. You've got plenty of time to make that kind of trade.
Are you kind of surprised that I'm not saying Andy Dalton's really, that key of a guy to go after in free agency, obviously, but like guys like Cam Newton, all right, guys like Jameis Winston. Like we talk about Jameis Winston all the time. Like the guy had 30-some touchdowns, right? Now he had a lot of turnovers as well, but he's still a free agent quarterback. And then you have guys like Clowney, guys like Yannick Ngakoue. Are you kind of surprised this year with like some of the top like upper echelon tiered guys that they're still just hanging around? I mean, is this how? Maybe it's always like this, But I just feel like this year it's been kind of weird how there's still a lot of guys floating around without any homes right now.
I think it's weird because those are big-name players at premium positions.
Yeah.
But again, I think the pass rusher market's been interesting. One, because of the year they're both coming off in terms of a stat standpoint. Listen, you can look at the tape, and we all know better than the stats, even on Clowney probably, but it says 3 sacks. It doesn't say 15 sacks. People want to get on the upward. They were like, boom, we're hitting them right now. I think there's question marks about Clowney in that respect. And then we know there's question marks about the commitment level you want to give a Winston and a Newton. And we know that if you don't commit to them as a starter, how will they be as a backup? That's a real question. So I think there's a lot that goes into that. And by the way, what will Newton and Winston covet if Case Keenum got $6 million a year as a backup quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you almost have to pay those guys in that neighborhood, if not more?
It's just crazy how timing is, right? Because last year, what are we talking about? We're talking about, do we go after Joe Flacco? The Jaguars go after Nick Foles? That was literally it. All right. I mean, it was bleak, to say the least. And now you got guys like Cam Newton. You got Jameis Winston. It's crazy how timing is everything.
Well, not only that, but it's also a little bit crazy about if you think of those two guys out there that even Chicago traded away a pick to get Foles and take on that deal when you could have had Winston for half the price and no pick. Yeah. Again, a 4th-round pick is a starter projection by most. So, interesting. We got 10 questions coming up in a little bit. I want to get to some responses we've had, whether it's the Jan conversation or others. So let's get the listeners and viewers involved and see what they're saying on a day we've talked about Yannick Ngakoue and a lot more. Michael Mann says, why do teams like a bye in the playoffs? ? No team has ever lost the week that they had a bye. Very true. Nearly all teams won't want bye. Very good play on words. I think I saw Adam Schefter say every year since 2012, a team has participated in the Super Bowl has had a bye. One of the two teams. The last time, one. Maybe it was won it.
Okay.
Would that make sense? Because 2012 was the last time it didn't. That was the Ravens. And prior to that, I think I saw Trey Wingo tweet that there was a run on wild card teams prior to.
So you're saying if you have a bye the first
you win the Super Bowl.
Did the Eagles have a bye? 2017? I don't think.
I doubt it. Weren't they underdogs technically?
Let me do the appropriate thing then to make sure I'm not misquoting Adam Schefter.
The Eagles were a 1 seed.
They were a 1?
Wow.
Yeah, because Wentz had a great year, remember?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what he said. With only one bye in each conference in the NFL's new playoff format, worth noting this, every Super Bowl participant for the past 7 seasons has received a bye. The last team to make it that far without a bye was the 2012 Baltimore Ravens. So every team that's made the Super Bowl has been a 1 or a 2 seed. I did not realize that. Because again, the run on this prior to was a lot of wild card teams were making it.
Yeah.
From the New York Giants to the Ravens to other teams and winning it. I did not realize that had been that long. I mean, now you're talking about a good 7 or 8 year run without it. Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, I'm going through every single year, and it's right on the money.
That shows you the bye importance. Mary says, I personally don't think Jan was initially planning to leave the Jags. I think something or a series of things happened or did not happen, which resulted in a change of mind. He's a great player, great person who has done everything asked of him. Kevin Harrison says, start. He's been parroting Ramsey for months, obviously talking about Jan.
How?
With the tweets. I guess with the cryptic tweets.
Tom Brady's putting out cryptic tweets. Everyone's doing cryptic tweets.
Cryptic tweets are a thing. No more cryptic tweets from Jan. This one was straightforward.
Yes.
Jason says, how many of those were a second-ranked team that would now have to play in those extra games in terms of the Adam Schefter? Okay, he was responding to that. I didn't see the answer. Logan Bowles, our man Logan, says those Jacksonville Icemen threads are clean. Thank you very much. They are. Well, 690 on the Jacksonville Icemen day here on ESPN. 690. Jags don't budge unless there's a 2020 first-round pick involved on Jan. 1 or 2 is the question. Brandon Smith says, I can't believe Jan is saying the Jaguars are holding a man from, quote, providing for his family, especially considering what is going on now in the U.S., the rest of the world. Not to mention his contract is for something around $17 million. I'm sorry, but we don't need that. Again, I brought it up before.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have said that if I was Jan, too, because you can't win on that. Okay, you're not winning, and not that he cares about fan approval right now. I'm just saying.
That he doesn't.
But like we said, it's hard to say. He's going to have $17 million if he just plays this year and never plays football again, okay? That'll be plenty to feed the family.
Yeah.
Well, but his point is, In this business, it's about hitting the home run, the big deal, the extension, you earn that. You build through that rookie deal, and especially as a third-round pick, and you get to the promised land and you earn it, and that's what he feels like he has, and he's missing the opportunity to cash in like many people can and have.
Yeah, I think it's more, he's talking about, like we said, the long-term deal than anything. And I get it, Brent, like, yeah, we're going through a pandemic right now and times are crazy.
Yeah.
And the last thing people probably want to hear is an NFL player saying, well, I need to feed my family when I'm making 18-something million. I could make 18 million. But at the same time, man, it's professional sports. Okay. These are celebrities. Like, I'm on social media all the time and I see Sam Smith crying in his billion-dollar house. I see Wonder Woman Gal Gadot singing Imagine by John Lennon. Like, why? What are we doing? So like it's a different world. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's not two things. Those two things are not alike. First Coast Ballboard says they're not going to get equal value because teams know he wants out. Well, teams are going to try to take advantage of the fact that he wants out. But again, this is my point. The Jaguars are going to hold firm on this. I fully believe it. I don't think they're giving Jan away, and so they will hold firm for as long as they can. And at some point, the table will turn in Jan's favor, because if you get to October and November, now you have to decide as an organization, okay, we're running out of time here. You get to the trade deadline. And if you don't trade him at the deadline and you don't have a deal done with him, which it doesn't look like you'll have a deal done with him, well, then now you're losing leverage, unless you want to tag him again at whatever it is, $26 million, which you have that one play, but that's it. You can have one play in your back pocket of $26 million or whatever the number is. It's huge to tag him for a second year. But outside of that, you start losing leverage. So I would say to that, yeah, teams know they want out. But I don't think the Jags don't have leverage. They just have to hold firm, and I think they will hold firm on this. People don't believe it, but I think Shad Khan is a big player in this right now. I think Shad Khan is saying, hey, you can sit here and tell me anything you want on social media, but I ain't moving you unless I get what I want. And I think people are understanding that. I think people are talking front office with Tom Coughlin before and even Dave Caldwell now. I think this one has a lot to do with Shad Khan. I really do. I think this is Khan talking more than anything else and saying, we ain't just getting you out of town because you want out of town.
The argument I'm going to make, though, is that the longer that Jalen Ramsey stuck around, the worse it was for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, now it ended up being good because you got, a sweet deal for it. But I'm just saying of how we all perceive the Jaguars, how the outside world perceived the Jaguars, it wasn't pretty. Now, if you have a crystal ball, Brent, you can look in the future right now with Yannick Ngakoue, because I've been pretty adamant. I think Yannick Ngakoue is going to try to kick tires on this organization. I think he's going to try to be a nuisance because he wants to get out. So if that's the case, and if that's the case where you want to try to get as much as possible for value-wise for Yannick Ngakoue, and if you're Shad Khan and you want to stay to your guns, you want to be like, all right, let's take him and we'll wait till October, is that going to have a negative effect, though, on your organization going forward? If Yannick Ngakoue is causing all this controversy. That's my question to you.
I don't know if it will. It could. I don't know. But again, I know it's not like they tried to sign all the DeForest Buckner and all this other stuff. But Joe Schobert had no problem coming here. Whoever else there's Tyler Eifert had no problem coming here.
But I'm not talking about free agents, though, too. I'm talking about the guys that they have in the locker room right now. I'm talking about like Leonard Fournette going for it. I'm talking about, other guys in the locker room that are still part of the team.
I guess so, man. But I guess I would say this. Is it smarter for Jan to do what Calais and A.J. Boye and even Nick Foles did? Who could have complained the loudest over really the last couple of months? Who could have complained the loudest is Nick Foles. Get me out of town. Get my agent. Get me, put it everywhere. I want out of here. I did not sign up for this. You never heard a thing. We had no idea. In fact, I thought he'd still be on the roster in 2020, and I was wrong. Is it better to do business that way instead of antagonizing right now what Jan is doing? And what I'm saying here is people are thinking he's antagonizing maybe the front office and maybe trying to have this optic look at the Jags. Well, the guy he's doing that to sits on the Kismet sometimes here on the St. Johns River and in a penthouse in Chicago sometimes. And that's Shad Khan. And this guy didn't become a billionaire because he's a jovial guy with a mustache. Yeah, we see that person sometimes. But I think Shad Khan, that's who you're messing with right now.
Well,
and I don't know if you want to do that. Shad Khan's done a lot of things that you would be like, doesn't he care about how the organization looks in this and this and this? And when it comes to business, man, I think he's messing with that guy. These other guys got what they wanted, even if, Calais got out of here, got to Baltimore. A.J. Boye to Denver.
Brent, that's my point, though, man. How long has this been going on with Yannick Ngakoue where he wants to get out, okay? Calais Campbell was quiet. Calais Campbell's out. A.J. Boye was quiet. He's out. Foles, quiet. He was out. Yannick Ngakoue has been quiet for how long now? Since last year.
He hasn't been quiet since August.
But I'm saying...
He held out.
Brent, but he still showed up, man. He could have... I think he could have took the direction in a different way where when he didn't get his contract, he could have kicked the tires and been like, I'm not getting paid, I'm not playing. But I think he was a team guy. So from that being said, from when he turned down his supposed contract last year, I think he has been quiet. And being quiet has got him nowhere.
I don't know, man. We've been doing Jan cryptic tweets for quite some time.
Tom Brady's everyone does cryptic tweets. Spoiler alert. Tom Brady does cryptic tweets.
Tom Brady had a
cryptic
little more
tweets,
equity, maybe.
I don't care about cryptic tweets. I really don't.
And by the way, they had no control over Tom Brady either. Tom Brady had total control in that situation. Josh, by the way, the last one. I love the off topic today. My wife makes a killer cheesecake banana bread.
Oh my God, you add cheesecake to it. Come on.
Oh my.
Those are two of my favorite
Put some
things.
raisins in there.
Dude, those cheesecake brownies at TPC Sawgrass. Now,
That's fire.
It was fantastic. And we should probably go to break here, but I just got to say, when, the whole coronavirus is going on, there's kind of talks of, shutting up and locking down. I actually went up to the waitress. I'm like, so what happens to those things? She's like, they probably go to a food shelter. I'm like, yeah, but like those, those cheesecake brownies, what happens with those? The food shelter. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
that was a tough one.
That's probably the best.
That was a tough morality issue for you, wasn't it?
Part of me was like, the homeless. But okay, yeah, go ahead and give.
All right, we're going to come back. Jacksonville Icemen Day on ESPN 690 continues. Wasey Rabbit joins us next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Showers and a thunderstorm or two this evening. Windy and turning cooler late tonight with clearing skies. We'll drop into the 50s. First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Are you interested in starting a new business but struggling with what structure makes sense? Attend a SCORE workshop or meet with a counselor to understand the pros and cons of establishing a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or limited liability company. Since 1964, SCORE has helped more than 11 million entrepreneurs and small business owners. Register for a workshop or schedule a confidential mentoring session at one of 7 area locations at jacksonville.score.org.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest-growing sports station in Jacksonville. It was a lot of fun playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, and I'm having just the same amount of fun on the radio every single day with ESPN 690. So I'm reaching out to you to be part of our team and grow your business with ESPN 690. Give us a holler at 245-8732. That's 245-8732. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you join the team.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida. But big and small, businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open to serve you. Tech Finger IT Services, Boot Barn on Blanding, Crown Pool, Baxter Restoration, Pediatric and Associates, Amco Transmission and Total Car Care Centers. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we'll all get through this.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jack.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you just joined us, we are saluting the Jacksonville Icemen here. It's Jacksonville Icemen Day on ESPN 690. We're mixing in a bunch of football talk, and we've been talking football. We'll do 10 questions in just a couple minutes because there's some NCAA topics, and we'll rifle through that. But we had Bob Arablo on from the Icemen and Jason Christie, the head coach. And coming up in just a moment, Wasey Rabbit, one of the Icemen players, will join us. So here's the idea. We got the nice sweater, so we figured, what the heck, let's wear it. It's not a jersey, it's a sweater.
Oh, yeah, it's a sweater. You call it a jersey, too, but I think that the traditional vernacular, how is that for a word, is sweater.
Going the old Scrabble team today.
Well, I know, right? That's what I'm talking about, man.
But anyway, the idea, just if you join us, and we're going to do this with a lot of folks, the Shrimp, UNF and JU, and some different schools and teams, because, listen, the sports world has hit the pause button, even though we were just saying a break. It's like, we haven't been starving for content. But
smooth sailing over here, man.
But this is more of, hey, let's support the local teams, because right now they're kind of on just a hiatus, right? And what are they doing? They're doing some creative things and fun things, too, like the Icemen are auctioning off Publix subs jerseys.
The Pub Sub chicken tender,
yeah. And so if you go on their the Icemen app, you can help raise money for feeding Northeast Florida. So cool things like that. Let's go to the line right now. Action Sports Jacks, ESPN 690. And we're joined by Iceman player Wasey Rabbit. Makes the all-name team, no doubt about that. That's hands down. He's on the A-team for that. And he's been on the Iceman team, and he knows all about the Jacksonville area. What we want to know, Wasey, is what the heck are you doing with all your time right now? How hard has this been as a hockey player?
It's been tough. It's been definitely the 2 weeks of my life that I won't forget. I'm sure anybody can say, but I'm back in Canada. We're doing 9 days of 14 days of isolation that our government has mandatory for anybody traveling outside of Canada. And as everyone in Jacksonville, the Iceman fans know, that we were playing 3 weeks ago, and now I'm home. So it's definitely a lot more interesting than I think within a month. It's been a big change.
Wait, see, obviously this is kind of considered like your off season right now, I would imagine. But, I mean, you're a hockey player, man. You have to get training again eventually here. I mean, in terms of like your training and your ice time, obviously that's probably few and far between right now. Like, how do you approach that kind of side of it?
Honestly, right now we're just trying to make sure that we got back to Canada safe. And my dad's a little bit older, so we wanted to make sure that we stayed away from them. So we're in their basement and just kind of keeping to ourselves with myself, my wife, and our dog. But I mean, 4 or 5 days in of doing nothing, it gets pretty bored. My wife here has one of her trainers. She's doing like a lot of stretching, and they got some body movement stuff. So I got involved in that. I went like around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I went for a run just to kind of get out. I know obviously I stayed away from everybody, but I just needed to move and breathe some fresh air. So that was my biggest thing. And yesterday I did my first full body workout, and I'm pretty sore right now.
Wasey Rabbit, Jacksonville Iceman player, joining us, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, as we have Jacksonville Iceman Day here on the radio on this Tuesday. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of things, and it will need a little bit of context. First of all, how did you find out? Can you take us back to a few weeks ago when you got the word from Coach Christie and from Bob Arablo and from everybody in the ECHL? I'm sure that will be a story you'll tell down the road at some time. Been like, I remember I was here. So how did it all go down?
Well, if you guys don't mind, I mean, my story kind of started in December when I came back. If anybody's familiar with the captain, Garrett Hunt, who was in China now, we kind of got talked to them, and their team actually had to leave China because of the outbreak of COVID-19, and they had to move their team completely to Russia. So that was kind of the beginning of it. And we didn't, obviously it's on the other side of the ocean. You don't think it's going to affect you. And then obviously the NBA canceling their season, me and my wife were on the couch, and it was kind of, okay, something's really happening here. And then within 2 or 3 days, we got a text message. We have a group chat that is in with the owners and Bob and Jason, all the coaches, that please don't leave, don't come to the rink. Like, just we'll update you guys. And from there, it was just kind of an unknown, because I don't think anybody really knew, especially in the States and around the world. I think it happened like with a snap of your fingers. Then within a week, we had our season-ending meeting, which was out in the open, and we had to do our own had our own space, but everyone was involved. But it was in a big room. It was out at the arena there at ViStar, and then it was done. So we had a meeting with the guys around the pool, just our Players Association. We had a meeting, obviously, with the pay and all that, and everybody making sure that they get out of town as soon as possible, especially for the Canadian citizens. It was important. So honestly, in a 48-hour window, it went from we were a playoff chase to get out of town to make sure everybody's safe. And Yeah, like this, I'll be able to tell this story. I've already had interviews with news reporters back in Canada, a couple that work with the NHL around here in my city. Is a big NHL city, so they wanted to hear the story of especially down in the States. We had to drive, so that was a different story on its own.
Whoa, how long a drive, man?
Oh, we usually do it. I can do it if I'm driving by myself, probably in 3.5 days. But we're going from Florida to Western Canada, which is right on top of Montana. So we did that in 4 days.
So what city are you in?
I'm in Calgary right now.
Okay. Wow, unbelievable. That's a long drive, man.
Yeah,
were you afraid that they were going to shut down the borders or anything at that time?
Well, I wasn't too worried about anything on my behalf, but my wife, her health care was up because she's under the Canadian health care, and her travel health care is usually covered. But they sent out a notice that all the snowbirds and anyone in the United States that they should probably come home because they don't know if their insurance will be covered in the United States. So it was just safe, and especially for the Players Association and then my family, it was just to ease everybody's mind and just to make sure we're back in our home country. I mean, I wasn't too nervous, especially in Florida, because it's so safe there, and they're making sure that everybody's like the Bob and the Icemen. We don't have to worry about. I think that even they were recommending that everybody go home.
Yeah, Wasey Rabbit with us, Jacksonville Icemen player. And all right, man, we have some maybe new Icemen fans listening, so some new listeners that we've picked up since the last time we talked to you. Give us the context on your name, Wasey Rabbit. How did? What's the story?
Oh, I've told a story. I think you're the millionth and second person, so I can add a couple more people. I have no problem telling the story. So my full name is Wasey Coleman, and my last name is Rabbit. So for the Americans, I'm Native American, Native Canadian. So the Rabbit, that's where it comes from. And Wasey is actually he's a professional bull rider of the 80s and 90s. His name is Wasey Cathy. He's from Oklahoma. And my middle name is Coleman, and it was Mel Coleman, who was actually the same, but he was a saddle bronc rider. And my family and myself were big into rodeo, horses, bulls. So I was named after 2 professional cowboys and ended up being a professional hockey player.
That's awesome.
So that's Canada. That's Canada, and kind of my family summed up right there in my name.
So cool. Thanks for sharing that for the millionth and first time.
Wasey, what is the vibe like in Canada right now from a professional sports standpoint, right? Because obviously we talk a lot of sports here in Jacksonville, and I think a lot of sports fans are kind of, taken back a little bit by the NCAA tournament, and now there's rumors that the NFL season might be delayed a little bit. Well, you're in Canada, right? You're in Calgary, where hockey is obviously king there, and right now the hockey season is also postponed. Like, I get, being safe and being with your family, that's the number one priority for sure. But I have to think people in Canada right now are missing their hockey as well.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now with our league and the American Hockey League, NHL, like this is where the teams, their playoff push and then playoff time. So this is the most exciting time to be a hockey fan. Is this time of the year? So like it's really a lot. I listen to a lot of the sports talk show here in the area, and there's not a lot of content because hockey rules all, especially in Canada. So I'm sure it's the same thing, like especially with the March Madness coming up, and now it was canceled. Like you said, football is in the unknown, and now baseball. Everyone's just kind of sitting on their hands. But for my area, it's Canada hockey rules all. So there's not much going on. They're doing a lot of 1980s, 90s, early 2000s games on the NHL Network and the sports networks here on TV. So that's kind of all the hockey we're getting right now.
Wasey Rabbit with us. I'm going to end with this. Do you think there'll be some guys, their career just ends? I mean, I got to believe, right? Some people retire even if they, whatever age they're at, they might have played their last hockey game, and it could end like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, injuries and father time and now COVID-19 are pretty the most undefeated people right now in sports. So I'm sure it'll be sad. I know there's a couple guys on our team that we were in a playoff chase, and there was their last games and there's their last practice without them even knowing it. So that's really sad. And obviously, hopefully, there's bigger things than hockey and sports in the world right now. But obviously, that's how guys feed their families, and for them to do something their whole lives and then within a matter of seconds is taken away, not by injury, not by anything, but something that's out of anybody's control. And that's sad. But at the same time is that, I mean, as long as they're healthy, I think there's bigger things in the world right now that we have to look forward to.
Absolutely. Wasey Rabbit, best wishes to you and your wife and your family and everybody up in Canada. Thanks for giving us a few minutes here today.
No problem. Can I add one thing?
Sure thing.
I just want to know if you talked to Jason or Bob, if I can use one of those numbers on your guys' jerseys. Those are...
Sure thing.
All right, guys, take care.
We can spare one or two.
That would be nice. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
Wasey Rabbit on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. We'll send the message if they weren't listening. By the way, a couple other notes. Alex Reed sent us some notes about the Icemen as well here on Jacksonville Icemen Day on ESPN 690. Do you believe it drove 4 days, man? That's a long trip to Calgary. Holy cats.
That's a haul.
They will this is a cool 2021 is going to be a big year for the Icemen because this was a big announcement, and I just want to remind people of it. In January of 2021, the Jacksonville Icemen will host the ECHL All-Star Classic, and here's the explanation of the event. It will include a fan fest and Hall of Fame luncheon, and the format of the game will be the full Icemen team playing against the ECHL All-Stars. So that will be a lot of fun, very cool, and just think, that's how successful the Icemen have been. Baba Roblo and Mr. Kaufman and everybody else, Jason Christie, what they've been able to do to create such an atmosphere, and all the fans, that the Icemen are hosting in year number 4 the All-Star Classic in the ECHL. I would imagine some organizations go decades without having a chance to do that, but it's been a home run here in Northeast Florida.
Listen, it's just a matter of the ECHL taking notice that, Jacksonville is a hockey city. And I think, obviously having the All-Star game in Jacksonville next year, it shows that. So it's great for the city. It's great for the sport of hockey. And I'm definitely excited to attend and be part of it.
Thanks to Baba Roblo, Jason Christie, and also Wasey Rabbit for joining us here on Jacksonville Iceman Day, and Alex Reed for helping us out along the way. All right, let's end with 10 questions. We'll have to do it quick. I mean, it's supposed to be 10 questions in 5 minutes. Kuz can't even fix his mic right now. It's not working. He broke something over there.
Struggle is real.
I don't know what
just happened.
happened.
Just give me the questions and I'll ask them?
Struggle is real.
My mic is no longer. I don't know what just happened.
You broke the microphone.
Dude, it fell
I'm snitching.
off. I was sitting here on my phone and it fell.
There you go.
Yeah,
what you got?
gonna have
Let's do it. You're holding it now.
I'm going to have to pull Marcel and hold it the whole time. All right, first one. Brent, did the NCAA get it right allowing all spring sports an extra year?
Yeah, I had a comment earlier that the NCAA did not get it right. I don't know what they meant by that. With the spring sports, they got it right, and they're going to grant another year of eligibility. And what they're going to do is they're also going to give enhanced rosters for the spring sports. So if they do have incoming freshmen, and how many people want to take advantage of this. But it's not just the seniors. Everybody's going to get that year of eligibility back. So this will be an interesting thing to track, not just on a one-year basis, but I think the trickle-down and domino will be 3, 4, 5 years down the road. We also don't know what high schools across the board in certain states will do as well. So there is a lot to digest here. I asked one person in college athletics, I said, how many people you think will take advantage of this? They thought it would be 50-50 in terms of the seniors. Obviously, everybody, for the most part, underclassmen will take advantage of it because they'll get another year. Yep. But even some of those, like, listen, I played college baseball, but I redshirted my freshman year. I didn't play I could have played a fifth year, and I didn't use it. I graduated, and I was done. So some people might fall into that category as well, but they'll have the option to do it. I think the NCAA got it right, and I think they also got it right with winter sports. Unfortunately, I know it's a bummer, but they shouldn't have given another year of eligibility for the winter sports. I just think it's one of those tough luck. It's going to be a story time story that you sell. It's a sad story down the road. Nobody got to participate in March Madness. I just think you couldn't make it open for everybody. I think the NCAA got it right. Spring sports another year. Winter sports, sorry, their season abruptly came to an end and a major inconvenience.
One question in 5 minutes.
All right. Austin,
big topic.
Sean Payton on ESPN today said that Drew Brees is coming back for his final season this year. Do you believe him on that comment?
I love how Austin's judging me on this segment.
No. I believe it.
Yeah.
Do I believe it?
Yeah.
If they go to the Super Bowl, then yes.
Okay.
I think if they don't go to the Super Bowl with the weapons that they have and the chemistry with Sean Payton, assuming obviously Drew Brees can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing. I don't believe it. I think Drew Brees wants to go out a winner, and if it takes 1 year, 2 years, or do I dare say 3 years, I think Drew Brees sticks around until it gets done, or at least he tries to get it done.
Okay, Brent, name a team that benefits the most from the postseason change coming to the NFL potentially next year.
Ooh. Well, maybe the Cleveland Browns haven't made the postseason in 17 years, and they get an extra window of opportunity.
Say that.
But I do think teams like that, teams even like the Jags, who are not perennial teams. I know you don't like the 7-9 stuff, but the bottom line is you can get in the dance and you can make some noise. And that helps build your fan base, too. I mean, to get at least an opportunity, whether it's one game or you go on a little run that's unexpected. So, by the way, I think in some way, shape, or form, if this goes on for 10 years, I think almost every team will benefit in that span, whether it's from the first round bye, whether it's from that 7th spot. I guess every team is a little much, but I think a lot of teams will benefit. Cleveland, I would put at the top of my list. They get a chance to bust the streak.
Okay. And then, Austin, my question to you for the quarterback situation with the Jags. I know you guys kind of talked about this, potentially if they should go for a quarterback in this year's draft or obviously ride with Minshew.
Yeah.
If Minshew's not the person at the end of next season and we're going into the draft, looking at the quarterback prospects next year, looking back, will we say we should have gotten somebody when we had the opportunity in this draft?
Yeah. So it's as simple as this. If Gardner Minshew fails next year, you can probably say they're probably going to win, realistically, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 games, like somewhere in that mode. So if that's the case, then you're going to be drafting pretty high, okay? Obviously, I think Trevor Lawrence is a once-in-a-generational type of player. I think he's even better than Joe Burrow. Remember, Joe Burrow came out of nowhere this season. Trevor Lawrence, the guy's been a front-runner since day one. Beautiful hair, great leader. He's got it all at the quarterback position that you want. Justin Fields is another guy that's very intriguing from Ohio State. Kind of the Dwayne Haskins effect a little bit, right? Like Dwayne Haskins was a lot of hype out of him out of Ohio State. Well, you saw last season went for him. So I think with Justin Fields there, I think with Trevor Lawrence there, and maybe an underdog like a Kellen Mond from Texas A&M possibly comes out of nowhere, and maybe he's like a coveted draft pick. My point is the fact, though, like Joe Burrow, nobody had him going first round last year, right? Well, now he's the number 1 pick of the draft, and next year you could have the same thing. So I say go with Gardner Minshew this year and see what happens next year then.
Okay, so my follow-up question to that, which will still stick with you, I guess, is would there be any value if Minshew's not the guy and say we're 6-7 games in and they realize it? Is there value to say they took Tua or somebody getting a few game reps this season?
So you're saying if they took Tua, is there value in it?
Yeah, is there value in him potentially getting a few games of practice, I guess, to kind of acclimate?
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely is, right? But at the same time, I think if you draft a quarterback, especially with the number 9 pick, or you trade up to get said quarterback, then he has to start. Or at least he has to come in, 2 or 3 games into the season. Yeah. Like you cannot justify with that high of a pick of taking a guy that deep or that high in the draft and not playing him. Keep in mind, Gardner Minshew should have been Rookie of the Year last year, okay? And the only reason why he wasn't was because of the schematics, all right? He had the best record of all NFL rookie quarterbacks, arguably some of the best stats of all rookie quarterbacks, but now we're talking about him getting replaced. So I just think right now you let Tua do his thing. We'll see what happens with Tua Tagovailoa, but I think next year Justin Fields intrigues me more, and obviously Trevor Lawrence intrigues me more than Tua.
Okay, Brent, from Doug Marrone's comments about you can never have too many offensive weapons, do you see players in this draft that if they went all offensive weapons would be kind of overkill, too much?
Yeah, well, they won't go all. They have 12 picks, so it's too many. But I think what you're talking about, it's the 2 first-rounders, a second, third. So could you see the first 4 picks be offense? Here's the deal. I think there are really only 2 impact positions right now that the Jaguars could get help in right away. That would be a left tackle because they feel like there's a sincere upgrade, and now you've got your guy for 6, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever it might be. And by upgrade, I mean over Cam Robinson. And receiver. That's it. There's not a good enough tight end that's going to come in and be like, bam, going to make you different. There's really not a running back that you're willing to invest in that's going to make you that's going to put you over the top. Although I think if you wanted to get a guy in like the 3rd round or 2nd round, whether it is a DeAndre Swift or someone, now he could really make you more dynamic. So I guess I'd throw the running backs
Jonathan
into
Taylor's
play.
Intriguing too a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We talked about Allaire as well, right? I mean, so there are some guys that are intriguing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're as dynamic in terms of playmakers yet. I don't know if I could rely on them. Well, you get Ruggs or you get Judy or you get Lamb. Well, you're thinking you're going to rely on that guy. And I think the offensive tackle, even though there's no stats involved, I think you'd involve that. So it's really those 2 kind of positions that can help the offense become more dynamic and give you more playmakers right away, even though an offensive lineman isn't a playmaker.
Can't believe I just wasted my main interruption.
Well, it doesn't
on
matter. We're running out of time
Jonathan
anyway.
Taylor.
Yeah, we've got
the end. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, Austin, with the wild card games potentially being simulated on or simulcast on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, staff Nickelodeon, but go ahead.
What two Nickelodeon characters would be great play-by-play commentators?
Good one. Glad you didn't ask me.
Oh, man. Well, obviously, you have to have, first of all, you have to have the play-by-play guy, an intelligent guy, really keen to what's going on around him. Phineas from Phineas and Ferb, obviously.
Okay.
You know what Phineas and Ferb is?
I do.
Yeah.
The newer
Phineas.
one,
Obviously, you can't have Ferb because Ferb doesn't talk. So you get
That
him
would
out
be
of
a
the
bad
booth.
play-by-play guy.
Get that big nose dude out of the booth. Other guy, I'm going to take, the color commentary guy.
Analytical.
Funny.
Personality.
Who's got the personality? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Who's Tony Romo?
Well, he's not SpongeBob SquarePants, but go ahead and give me Phineas talking about like the play-by-play and color commentary going to SpongeBob SquarePants.
You're not worried about people getting annoyed with the voice?
Good point.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a hard question, man. Give me SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm sticking with it.
All right. So Brent,
that's a hard question.
With Jan's comments about the potential rumor trade that was, tweeted about, what would a realistic trade that you think the Jags could get that the Jags would bite for Jan?
I think they would bite for something in the top 40. Multiple picks in the top 40 over the next 2 years, and a mid-round pick or player. And so, like I suggested earlier, listen, could you get 2 first-round picks? Well, sir, no brainer. That ain't happening. Can you get a first and a fourth? I wonder if they would start considering that. But would they also consider what I said, like maybe even with the Cincinnati when we were talking to Andy Dalton? Throw Andy Dalton just in, but could you pick up their number 33 overall, which is essentially a first round? I mean, it's so close to being a first round pick, and then maybe next year's first rounder or next year's second rounder, and then maybe a mid round on top of that. So could you see 2 high seconds and a fourth instead of 1 first round pick? I don't know. Again, I'm not good at that game, but I think you'd have me thinking. So I'm thinking like 2 top 40 picks over the next 2 years and a mid-round selection would even out in some way, shape, or form to benefit the Jags.
Okay, my last one, and I saw this going around on social media, Austin. Name one former Jag that, if added to the Jags right now, would make them a playoff team.
Oh. One former Jag, if they're added right now, they'd be a playoff team.
Or is there not one?
You'd have guys like Fowler and Ramsey.
No, yeah.
But they're not going to make it.
I'm thinking like Mercedes Lewis in his prime, maybe like the Pro Bowl year for Mercedes. Man, that's a crazy question. Go ahead and give me.
Do they have to be currently playing?
No.
No, just former Jag.
Oh.
No, yeah, it could be retired. You could be.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
Oh, okay, so I can be like Jimmy Smith.
You can be Jimmy Smith, Tony Baselli, Burnell.
But you know what? I mean, I think you need a tight end. Okay, and I think Mercedes Lewis's Pro Bowl year. Go ahead and give me that. Oof. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to construct. I don't know, man. That's
a tough question.
It's a hard question.
Well, because like Tony Baselli, does he make you go to the playoffs?
Exactly. Does like an offensive tackle? I mean, Tunsil didn't for Houston. So
Jimmy Smith's a good answer there because he gives you something you really don't have, right?
Yep.
I mean, you can
vertical threat.
I sure as heck wouldn't go Mercedes Lewis, but Fred,
let's hear yours.
Fred or Maurice.
You have Fournette.
I mean, then you go Burnell. I mean, he's the best quarterback in franchise history.
But you had Minshew last year.
And so, yeah, I think I would probably lean Jimmy.
Okay. I mean, that was my first pick, but just shooting Brent's.
Does he change your offense to that much?
Yeah, go into Tony Baselli again. Offensive tackle. Changing your whole team around.
I'd probably go Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith?
Just reiterate, I would not go Mercedes Lewis.
Or would you go on the defensive side? Or would you go on the defensive side of the end? Would you go like?
Nah, no defensive player is making you go to the playoffs. They need an offensive player to make them dynamic.
Okay.
You can play defense. You can play defense. You can kind of coach yourself around defense.
2017 was a lot because of their defense.
Yeah, but one player isn't going to make you 2017 is my point.
Yeah, you're right. You're right there. I'm going Mercedes Lewis. What's up, Mercedes? Tight end, baby.
The question we weren't able to get to, and I
can't believe you would. Go ahead, sorry.
I don't know if you would have a story, but a story because of Godwin and Brady having to switch numbers. I was going to see if you ever had a situation like that in the locker room.
Anybody
with
want your 92?
No one wanted my 92. Nobody wanted. Well, then obviously to Kansas City, I was 90, which was a swaggy number. I like that number a lot. I was 97 in Detroit. Wasn't giving that one up. And then Chicago. Hey, nobody is trying to trade 73 with anybody.
No.
Okay, the swaggerless of all swaggerless. Well, yeah, shout out to Evan Britton, but he's also an offensive lineman and hangs out with Mike Tyson, so he's a little nuts. Me personally, I'm hanging out with Brent Martineau. Not as nuts.
And not as nuts.
Yeah.
By the way, first story I heard on this way back when I got in the business was Jeff Feagles with the punter for the Giants. He had number 10, and Manning, Eli, got his number and gave his whole family a trip to Disney World. That was and that's been going on for a long time, but that was my first introduction to it. And Feagles, I asked Feagles about it like a couple years ago because I saw him, I think at Tom Coughlin J Fund, the golf tournament, and he's like, oh yeah, we went to Disney. We took the trip. It wasn't just a thing. We took the trip.
Can you imagine being Godwin and just being like, no, it's my number now. Yeah. I've been here a lot longer.
He said that right away. He wasn't going to do it.
Of
Smart move on his part. All right, that's going to do it. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Happy Jacksonville Icemen Day here on the show. I'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000.